Objection leading. Objection leading. Objection hearsay.
Wonderful.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Wonderful.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. Objection hearsay and lack of foundation. Objection relevance. Objection compound. Objection leading. Objection hearsay. Objection hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
We'll move on.
Aquaman.
Okay.
That's WNBC clap, Sarah. Did you make
thanks.
the Camille Polation?
Yeah, I made that
That's
a
great.
week ago.
That's really good.
I had to update the picture of her, though, at the end, because she did a great job. And she's with her man, hugging him.
What's that wide load, yo?
He doesn't say that to her. He respects her.
that's the biggest insult he has to her, the entire exchange in the audio. What's that wide load, yo?
I know, that's the biggest insult.
Let's
But
say
he
hi to
knows how to
everybody
hit
in the
her.
chat. Lindsay Depp, welcome. Arnold Strong, numero uno. A. Smith, of course. David, and your brilliance. Scott Balo, and your brilliance. Everybody's brilliance. David C., Judy Tenuta, everyone that's here. I think we got everybody, right? Okay, we'll catch up as we go.
I think so.
Just want to tell everybody up front. We got a lot of plates to spin. So bear with us. I'd love to give everyone individual attention, as you know, on the live. Hooper, hello, sir. And your bluefish expertise. Hope you're in William Floyd Parkway right now, fishing in the Great South Bay. I hope the rotator cuff as well. So we're gonna try to get as much as usual. We're gonna give you all the individual attention you deserve. Ben 4810, welcome, sir. So there's just a lot of stuff to juggle. So bear with us as we will get to as much as we can.
Yeah, if we fumper, too bad. We'll figure it out. But yeah, Ben, when I set him up for the live streams for court, I don't want him to have to deal with playing an intro because that's probably the most complicated thing on this StreamYard garbage. So I just let him come on whenever he's ready and go from there.
But I didn't know you had it set up. I could easily just hit play. I didn't realize there was a tab for it. I couldn't really see it.
Yeah, I hate it because you have to time it correctly. And I've messed up plenty, and it sucks. Anyway, so yeah, our weekends are going to be I guess we only have one more weekend of this, right? Today and next weekend. Then
because
we'll get
they're
back
playing
on a regular schedule.
Yep. When you do the Depping in Colorado, you get an extra hour, just like a baseball travels an extra 100 feet. So that's the way we're going to think.
Mr. Arm today is on a much more professional mic. However, we don't trust it completely. We'll see how it goes.
We want you to tell us how we sound.
Yeah, if you hear anything weird with him or me, let us know in the chat. So we have so much to cover. This is an hours and hours long show. So lots of media. Are you ready to start?
Lots of stopping. Yeah. You want me to start with my so this is my first. I'm going to share a screen. This is something I read today on the proverbial let's see. So this is God help me. Okay. So a lot of questions come up about where are Depp's kids. I mean I'm as guilty as anybody. I know Tiger Lily and Sunflower Dragon say the kids must be on the front lines. I know Sarah, you're in that camp. Leave the kids out of this. I think that's a cliche. I think that's bullshit. I think if my father were under this kind of international scrutiny, I'd be right there. My father and I weren't particularly super close, but the guy is what?
still, you would still
Oh
do
no, but
that.
he's airtight. He's the antithesis of deviant,
Mhm.
and I would be here. So I don't understand. And again, she's filming some strange streaming series called Idol, I believe it is, and that's the only excuse I'll accept. How you don't? So the Depp heads are crazy, and they're attacking her for not
Mhm.
defending her dad on social media. It's like one point, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I knew we kind of felt like this could happen, and I knew. So I got, this is weird. I got like earbuds in, and it
Mhm.
really fucks up your hearing. So I'm taking one earbud out because I don't feel I can't hear like you need to hear yourself a
Yeah,
little
I know.
bit when you speak.
I can't do both ears at the same time, so. And I do wanna say, we noticed when we were testing out the new microphone, and this is again a StreamYard thing I've noticed from other online or YouTube shows. When we first start to share a screen, that's kinda when we might have a mic issue, but then it goes away rather quickly. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you everyone in the chat for giving us our
Mhm.
feedback, audio feedback. So I'm on the throne today. I'm like King Louis researching for Depp on the throne. And every time I'm on the throne, I do a gratuitous Depp search. And I don't do a Depp search like I'm looking for avant-garde stuff no one's talking about. I'm looking for, we first started doing this before this trial. We were going to do this no matter what. If this trial they could have settled, we'd still be doing this show. It wouldn't have mattered. This show was not predicated on this, but we had to lean into it because we just had to. It's just obviously they forced their hand.
Mhm.
So I would look for obscure stuff when when we first started doing the show, and it was the Depp news in the beginning. And so I did this, and this isn't like, but so now I see this. So apparently, and I knew this last week, but we didn't. I think I found it on Thursday or Thursday afternoon. So Lily Rose is getting attacked by the Depp heads for just not ardently defending her dad enough on social media. Like, where are you? And so this is like 5 different. So I choose 17 magazine. There's like, Hollywood Reporter's got it. And I somehow clicked on the 17 magazine. I feel really creepy, but this is Emma McIntyre. I have it on hard copy, of course, but I'm going to use the online edition. And so let me see if I can find where it's a lot of filibustering in the beginning. Actress Lily Rose Depp is seemingly, I haven't shared my screen. I'm
Yep,
still
I
working
have to
on
put
that.
it
I
up.
got to share the screen. Okay, this is my attempt at sharing a screen. Share screen, hit the Chrome tab. There's a lot of things people don't tell you when they shit. So apparently Sarah has to clear it. You know how you're watching a video podcast and everyone's sharing screens? Like, what is this? What is this? Can anybody, like, what if 2 people share the screens at the same time? Does it just like crash into each other and the stronger one wins out? Like, so Sarah has to clear it. Like, she gets a confirmation. So I hit Chrome tab and I say, Lily Rose being harassed by Johnny Depp fans, and I hit share. So Sarah gets an alert on her side, and she has to clear it.
And then it loads for a second. There we go.
Now, can you expand it, or do I have to make it bigger?
I think,
I'm going to make it bigger on mine to see what happens.
I can
Do
full
anything?
screen it like that. Yeah, ARM has a slight popping noise we noticed when we start sharing a screen, but it should go away.
Okay. So, actress Lily Rose is seemingly receiving attacks by fans of her father, Johnny Depp, who are unhappy with her lack of comments and public support for him during the ongoing defamation trial against ex-wife Amber Heard. For a quick refresh on what's happening with Johnny and Amber, the 2 are currently locked in a fierce battle, blah, blah, blah. Even though I'm going to go down a little more. Okay. Lily Rose has refrained from posting anything. Do you see me scrolling, by the way? Is that how that works? Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
It's such simple. People have been doing this forever. I feel like it's magic because I'm doing it for the first time. Lily Rose has refrained from posting anything on her social media account since the trial began, but her previous posts have been the target of hate comments. Multiple Twitter users have noticed that this alleged harassment, taking screenshots of Lily Rose's Instagram post comment section and sharing some of the negative messages that self-reported Johnny fans have left for the model, Johnny shares it with his ex-wife, Vanessa Paradis. Twitter user Ahmad posted a set of Lily Rose's comment sections, which appeared underneath in one of the actress's recent Instagram posts, captioning these tweets. This is just insane. Please support your father, regardless of your. So I have these. Here, and I think I have to. I'm gonna read them after, so I'm not gonna read. It's gonna be redundant if I read what they say. This is not the first time social media users have been called into question for inappropriate behavior regarding this trial. Recently, TikTokers created meme videos out of a domestic abuse allegations, turning snippets of audio from Amber Heard's emotional testimonies into viral sounds for users to lip sync
Now,
to.
let me interrupt that. So I apologize.
That's okay.
It's not that they are mocking her, but they're taking snippets that are obviously false and just so out of the the limits of reality, that and that's what they're mocking, because it's obviously a lie what they're lip syncing to. And
Right.
they're just like, especially like the ones where she's from, and I saw the dirty carpet. They're reenacting her testimony. There's a
Trying to
video
do
there of her
like
testimony.
hardcore
It doesn't make
satire.
sense.
Trying to do
Yeah.
like hardcore satire. Now, network establishments like Saturday Night Live are afraid to touch this like full on because of the backlash, and they don't know what side to take. And Howard's a total fucking 79 IQ goldfish brain mess. His take is the worst. It's cold Chinese food. 3 weeks later, he has no knowledge of the trial. Why anybody would listen to them anyway is ridiculous. But these people have no repercussions, deprecations. So you go nuts.
Yeah. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
That's okay. In the past, Lily Rose has defended her father against Amber's allegations, according to Variety magazine. After Heard first made the domestic abuse and sexual abuse accusations back in 2016, Lily Rose posted a childhood photograph of her. This is back in so this is that's 6 years ago. Wow, I didn't realize. I remember it vividly. I didn't realize time is going so fast. Time, love, and tenderness, right, Sarah? Jesus.
When you think your world is over.
Go ahead, sing it.
No, I just
Let
did.
me just remember this. Know that heals a broken heart, like David, time and tenderness. My dad is the sweetest, most loving person I know. He's been nothing but a wonderful father to me and little brother, and to my little brother and I. And everyone who knows him would say the same. And while the trial remains a legal mess that only authorities can untangle, one thing is pretty clear: leave Lily Rose alone. I agree with that, but I don't agree that she should stay out of it on any level. Who has the most to gain from the trial, Sarah?
If we're talking money, of course, it's the children.
Right.
And his career flourishing. In the long run, it's the children. But someone commented earlier in our wonderful comments that and I agree, that it's probably on the advice of his attorneys. And also, he probably wants to keep her out of this as much as possible.
One of the points being,
I doubt he even wanted to have them play that snippet of audio where he talks about his daughter. But they did, because it helps put her, that freaking out in the back of the car audio in context, what she was really freaking out about. So they had to play that. He probably didn't want to.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the tweets this guy screenshotted that are making the rounds.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stop screen. I'm going to reshare and go on what I think.
I'll expand it when I pull it up and just read.
A lot of times. Okay. Do you see? Okay, can you expand it?
I gotta wait. I'm waiting for it. I don't see. Sorry, guys. I don't see anything yet.
Okay, I'm gonna. I think I did it wrong. Okay, right again. Okay, I'm attempting to do it. Do you see it?
I'm adding it.
You got that?
Okay, there it is.
Okay, so I guess I can. I don't know if it'll.
As long as you can read it, go ahead.
Okay, as long as you read. So one guy writes. I'll try to go for the hardcore ones. Hey Lily. God, what is it doing? It's so weird.
I know.
Hey Lily. I just want to, I don't want to bother you, but, please use your platform to garner support for your dad. He deserves justice, and give him a big hug from me. All of Canada is behind him and rooting for him.
God.
And then somebody underneath him, Shanga1 writes, "Hey, how come you just never post anything about your father? This is ridiculous."
No.
This is on her Instagram.
No, read that correctly, because that puts it into context. Who is sending
grammatically?
this? Yeah.
Are you worried
Why
about the
you
grammar?
never
Okay.
post anything of your father?
Bitch, why you never post nothing about? Why ain't you nothing anything about your father?
About yo
I'll make it
daddy.
worse grammar. Yo, yo. Why you ain't never post nothing about your father? TA member, Justice for Johnny. Simply Pluto. Please support your father. God, regardless of your relationship with him, you know that Amber is not the victim. You know that. Support him. Please speak up. So now people are kind of taking this and running with it and thinking they're estranged. And
these people think that they are her stepmother, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh, I know. So we have here, I don't even know how to say this one. Laxinico, laxative, and Toka. My family is sending your family love for the first time. My mom can't stop gushing over your father. Your dad and family is in our hearts. So they're on.
Right.
And then Billy Joel quote at the bottom: "Your dad is an innocent man." That's the way I'm reading that and take it. Next page. This is bigger. I don't know why this got maybe it's him that didn't expand it. Maybe he should have.
Maybe.
Like he took the shots of it.
He wanted to fit all of them
Lily
in there.
Rose, not a single pic of your dad? Are you kidding me? What kind of human being are you? You know, this is classic Fatima, though. He doesn't play around.
Fatima.
Yeah, Fatima. There's your bingo card, David. I said vintage or classic. After years, you will be gone. This is him talking to Lily Rose. This is crazy shit.
Oh my God.
She's reading every single bit of this too. After years, you will be gone and forgotten, and only people will remember you as the daughter of a legendary man. God damn it.
First of all, people need to. I don't know what people are going to do if this isn't a good verdict. I'm going to be upset. I would bet you there are going to be some of these women that are waiting out there every day for court at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Probably engage in self-harm, unfortunately, because they think. Let me go back. Remember that court video we showed of all of them outside, and they played that interview with that woman with a jet black hair?
Yes.
Meanwhile, she's like 75 with jet black hair. I'm sure it's natural.
Yeah, I go over all the time. I'm the one who brought her up. The Marianne from Brooklyn of the Johnny Depp trial.
There are rumblings from people that go there to the trial that she is absolutely obsessed. She thinks he's there for her, and she tries to sit right behind his security. She puts her head on the pew that their back is up against and tries to talk to them like they are her employees too, because she's Depp's wife. They all avoid her. She tries to have conversations with Ben Chu, who now avoids her. I don't know how she makes it into the court every day.
Oh, there's got to be some footage of that avoidance. There's got to be of her harassing. There's got to be somebody. I would love somebody out there if it's maybe Katie Aldana or someone, John O'Reilly could get it. And I just want footage of her harassing the legal team in the parking lot. That would be so funny.
Well, she posted somebody else's video of him leaving the court. You know how every day they post the videos of him leaving in the crowds outside?
Yes.
She tweeted something like, "Yes, Johnny, I'm here for you." She's crazy. I know I'm not going to be polite. She's crazy.
No, she's legit. No, absolutely. She's mentally ill. But here's the thing. But you
do when all this is over and she can't see him every day?
They're asking for it because Depp has got a persona where he needs his fan. He needs his Depp army. He needs the Depp heads. So you put this thing out that you're just embracing any and all comers. We know we're crazy, and crazy is is our brand, right? So you're putting that out there. You're facilitating crazy, and that's what you're getting. I'm not saying I condone her mental illness and harassing the thing, but this is what's there. Who do you think's at this trial? It's no different than a fucking Star Trek convention.
Mm-hmm.
These women literally think he's going to marry each and every one of them. At their retweet of an Amica cream bruise is somehow going to sway this jury. This is about 7 people that need to vote unanimously in favor of him. And that's it. You could try all the hocus pocus you want. You could find even the stuff we're going to play, which is phenomenally incriminating. Doesn't move unless these 7 jurors hear this. You ain't doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to Adam Waldman. I'm talking to everybody who thinks they're impacting this trial. If you don't influence those 7 people, you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
And I have no, obviously I'm the antithesis of legalese. I'm no Sunflower Dragon. I'm no John Rowell. But I know this. In Virginia, all 7 people have to vote in his favor for him to win. And I know what charisma is. And I know what optics are. And the whole thing is you got to get these 7 people on the same page. And if you don't, it's a failed. I mean, the court of public opinion, we all know it's 95% in his favor. And is that what he really wants? I mean, even something like the Adam Waldman thing we saw on Thursday, right? So Adam Waldman leaks information to, Incredibly Average and Laura B and Umbrella Guy. And what's his intent there? Is it for the UK trial or is it for now? Because if it's for now, doesn't do shit. Unless you're leaking this information to the jury, that don't do shit. And unless the jury ain't watching these channels, that's not going to do shit. The goal is to get the jury, and it's not about the already converted.
Mm-hmm. Well, if these reports about how the jurors are reacting are any indication, I think they're doing a good job. We'll see, though. I can't guarantee anything. I know nothing. But I'm encouraged by what I hear.
At least you admit it. Because everybody else thinks they're insiders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me read this last one and we'll get off this. So this is the one that's... Okay. This one's a little subtle. Support your dad, he deserves it. I think it's a Jason Momoa kind of pun.
Yeah.
Like they think Momoa is in on this too. Momoa hasn't said shit. So you see all this like clickbait and they're quoting Jason. He hasn't said anything. He can't. But Warner Brothers is every bit of this is, like I said, and I'll say this, and I can't say it enough. The Aquaman people and Warner Brothers and the production look at this, and Sarah, I think you'll agree with me, as a month and a half infomercial for the film. Mm-hmm. And in the end, if they find out, we've already know her role has been greatly reduced. If she's cut out, they've already paid her. It's a no-brainer to cut her out completely. The morbid curiosity from even people who wouldn't see Aquaman are going to pile in to see this movie to see just how they cut her out. It is a genius stroke if Warner Brothers just leans into that and does that move.
Mm-hmm.
Genius. It'll make 50% more than it did the first time. And it'll be far and away DC's #1 hit. It already is.
Yeah.
In 2.
So is it official though that she's been let go out of her contract? She said that, right? They ended the contract.
No, she got paid for it.
No, I know, but for like any future movie, she's done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was only a 2-picture deal. No, 3, including Justice League. It was a 3-picture deal.
Well, they didn't
Justice
pick up
League
her
and 2
option.
Aquamans.
They were late picking up her option. She says because of all this, but
yeah,
they knew she sucked. So I don't know if
they knew she'd sue them if they dropped because she probably got some other loophole.
Mm-hmm. All right, carry on, sir.
Okay, so this is another one's please support your dad in court against the liar Amber Heard. So many hashtags and underscores. Just write the fucking sentence out, you stupid dunderhead. My sincere apologies for taking this up. This is really hard to.
This one's
it's
so
hard
rambling.
to say. My Matt Murdock vision. My sincere apologies for taking the opportunity to comment here. Just so you know that I admire the Depp family, and after listening to today's crap, I think it's time for you, my dear Lily Rose, to testify in defense of your father. Oh. Please think about it. It is too much to bear your father's suffering. Believe it or not, a child's testimony, I agree with this actually, believe it or not, a child's testimony, and she's 23, I think, live will have a huge impact. Again, please think about it. Here's the thing. There's something really off with the clinical psychologist. I love her like pouring her guts out to her in this Instagram post. And here's the thing. Just the clinical psychologist the AH team presented today, if you've ever noticed this, she was too focused on 2 things. Dragging your dad, JD, into accusations that seem exaggerated than AH. And number 2, the opposition to forensic psychologist Dr. Shannon Curry, specifically on borderline personality disorder and the excessive level of exaggeration. I think it doesn't I think it strays off. So it cuts. He must have cut it off there because it goes off. But that's it. And I'm sure there's a million more where that came from. But there's just a little taste of what Lily Rose is getting on online. But where I don't condone contacting her and harassing her, I do condone her testifying and being, if not at the court, supporting her dad. I don't understand that at all. I don't care. But you if you don't what is that quote we read, the Steve Rogers quote, where if good men do nothing kind of thing? That applies to women too. And if you're not supporting your father, I don't know what you are. What right? I mean, what are you if you're not there on the front lines, front and center? I don't agree with laying low at all.
Yeah, I almost kicked you out accidentally, so hold on. And wouldn't that be funny?
A. Smith's like, what size monitor do you? A. Smith, I have the the Super Friends monitor when they said the Legion of Doom's attacking. It ain't that. It's the Adams version of it. Nah, it's probably like a 16-inch computer screen. And my fat face is shoved into it. This is why I can't go on camera, because you see my fat face trying to read.
You need to understand and agree that you're very handsome.
They are obsessed with Lily Rose's cankles.
I looked at a picture of her today. I was like, it's nothing I even noticed. I mean,
I know. People are so.
I think she's a rail. So I think even her ankle bones look insanely large.
But such is the business she chose. She's a model, like her mom and her dad's name. So it's you're to be judged on your looks. I don't feel sorry for you. You don't have that job without your dad's last name. That's the industry. It's about looks. She's a model, is she not?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a model.
Well,
your life is charmed any way you slice it. ...
Okay, we got another one, right?
Sunflower Dragon testifying and supporting your father are two different things. Not to me.
I agree.
Not to me.
You're never going to change his mind.
She's involved in half the Sarah. She's involved in half the quoting. She's in every scenario. She's brought up all the time. Get in there and shoot it down. Then get the fuck in there and shoot it down. You too, Jack.
Yeah, that boat story was crazy. I bet none of that happened. Was she had a breakdown?
Him falling off the boat, wasted.
He's probably doing like a goofy dad dive off the boat.
Some of it could be true, but let's see.
Yeah. I don't know.
I believe some of it.
Psycho.
You are not.
I try not to be.
That is correct. Okay, so let's move on. What? Speaking of psychos.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you. You do that.
I was able to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share something else.
Okay.
Which I believe you're speaking of psychos, and this is the star of. This is such a. It's so funny because the new season of one of my favorite shows, Animal Kingdom, is going to start in a few weeks, and you'd think this would be like a promotion, but she's not on the show unless she might be coming back, which is interesting. So this is Ellen Barkin, who is a cougar and a former ex-side piece of Depp. Booty call Barkin, kind of cougar. Booty
Nothing
call.
more than a hole. Sorry.
Nothing more than a hole. That's sweet. What a feminist, Sarah.
I'm not, obviously.
Okay. So I went back, and this is not a current article. I went and fished this out. This is from 4 years ago. So apparently Ellen Barkin has a history of just going into this MeToo histrionics over and over again. And we spoke about this gentleman the other day on the Deppening, I believe it was Thursday or Wednesday, and Lost in La Mancha and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the director Terry Gilliam. Ellen Barkin accused him he tried to MeToo him, and I didn't even see this. And this is from 4 years ago. So it goes. Animal Kingdom star Ellen Barkin took to Twitter. This is from 4 years ago. And took to Twitter today in the wake of Terry Gilliam's comments on the Me Too movement and Time's Up movement, saying, my hard-won advice, never got into an elevator alone with Terry Gilliam. The Emmy Award-winning actress didn't expand on the tweet, but it certainly raised a lot of eyebrows in the Twitterverse. This is not the first time Barkin has come forward about Terry Gilliam. Earlier this year, she said, "Oh, Terry, why couldn't you just keep your mouth shut, darling, and stay gone?" To the New York Times article where she talked about the Me Too movement. And earlier this week, in response to an interview he did with Variety, she tweeted, "This interview turns my stomach, and it's the last man to admonish a movement that is trying to protect women from abusive men. Hashtag MeToo. The two worked together in 1998's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is before, and I don't even know if Depp comes up in the piece. And her comments come days after Monty Python writer and actor had few things to say about the Me Too. Yeah, Gilliam's always talking about freedom of speech, and he's always, he does it a lot. And the numerous allegations of sexual misconduct surfacing in Hollywood now, of like Gilliam says Hollywood has plenty of Harvey Weinstein-like monsters, of course, but insists the Me Too atmosphere has just gotten silly, with people being described in ridiculous terms as if there's no real humanity left anymore. It's tough to disagree with that. In an interview published by Global News, Gilliam claims that the Me Too movement has become a mob rule now. It's a world of victims. He said, I think some people did very well out of the meeting with Harvey, and the others didn't. And the ones who didn't knew that in fact what they were doing. These are adults. We're talking about adults with a lot of ambition. It's Harvey opened the door for a lot of people. And a night with Harvey, that's the price you pay for a night with Harvey. Some people paid that price. Other people suffered from it. Barkin has yet to elaborate any more in her comments and what she's referencing in regards to Gilliam behavior. Read her tweets below. My hard-won advice: never get alone in an elevator with Terry Gilliam. And then we can scroll down a little bit. You can see Excel. Yeah, so apparently he just grabbed her ass in an elevator. Could be true, maybe not. She might have been asking for it. She might have facilitated it. Now, she's very much hell hath a woman scorned. And it could be that he spurned her as well. And he, said, all right, I'm done. We're done. And this is her just kind of bitter revenge. But she's nuts. And she has it wasn't just Gilliam. There's a few others. But I just wanted to focus on him to keep it more Depp-centric. Oh, I don't know why, before I get off this for a second. So I had the Radio Gunk Wino Forever thread, and I was scanning through it. I want to thank everybody who contributed: Lazarus, Johnny Bye-Bye, everybody, obviously Melvin. And so this Tom Byron, who we don't hear from a ton, writes a rant about Ellen Barkin. Funny rant. He writes, hey, cut Ellen Barkin some slack. She was a cougar when fucking Johnny. Now she's a saber-toothed cougar. She's 68 years old, and I believe she still has some fight left in that gyro. You must. That's your nomenclature, right? Gyro. That's something Sarah would say in a rant.
Makes me hungry.
Just take it from Tom Byron. I know my broads. It used to be my job. In all seriousness, though, one day she decides to leave that house with no makeup. She probably thought it was nothing, and it wouldn't last long, and nobody will see her. Boy, was I wrong. That's going to haunt her forever. That's true. It stinks. I do feel sorry for you broads in Hollywood. When they post 60, there ain't a ton of roles, and you are discarded, and it is an ageism system. But you broads are aging better than ever now at the same time, with Sunflower Dragons, 6 quarts of water a day and antioxidants.
5 iced teas. Iced tea counts as whatever
it's water.
I want to.
It's water.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a weird move where if you have allegations to throw at Gilliam, throw them. The hinting makes it seem like it's more about punishing for her own sake as opposed to systematic oppression. Yep. I agree.
I am not on a tablet, A. Smith. I'm on a laptop.
No, what it is, I don't know. I'll say it again. When we share a screen, it's a StreamYard thing. There's mic popping that shows up whenever we share. So if it gets to be too much of a pain in the ass, just let us know, and we'll make adjustments.
Was there a sound difference in that?
No, I mean there's a little popping, but we already talked about it. Whenever we're sharing a screen, you pop for a little bit, and then it fades away somewhat. So it's tolerable in my opinion, but if it's not up to me, if it's bothering the audience, let us know.
I just want to say Sunflower Dragon is a great point too. She says, I think a team already got through. They ran through the motions and came with the conclusion that she'd actually hurt the case. Talking about Lily Rose. And she could be spot on with that. It could be like not too favorable looking for Depp, because they were estranged for a bunch of years. And then they throw the Manson call and the Marilyn Manson and the Dregs and Miss Vasquez. And the thing where he drops her off at school and then disappears for 2 days. And they find out through various people that he's just whacked out, hanging out with me, just stuff like that. So I think their relationship ain't the greatest thing to go broadcasting. I think she might be spot on about that. They've been completely advised to leave The council said don't use her.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about the Ellen Barkin thing again. The way she made that comment, like, don't get in an elevator. I'm thinking because that came out around the same time Courtney Love's comments about Harvey Weinstein were brought
Yeah.
back and made public, where she said,
"Are they friends?"
Maybe.
She's very Courtney Love-ish, Ellen Barkin. She's got I don't know what that personality. I'm sure some psychologically acute expert could do better than I would but there's a lot of similarities with those two.
I don't know if they're friends, because Courtney Love just like 2 days ago made like a video statement about how Johnny Depp was such a good guy.
Yeah. They do know
I
each
don't
other.
think Ellen Barkin would.
No,
go with
I don't
that.
mean I just mean like their personality. I don't mean their relationship with Depp. They just seem similar to me.
Yeah. I don't know. So you call the next play.
One last thing. Kevin Cowie says, I want to see interviews about the man who protects female sexual abusers in Hollywood. Yeah. Well, I also want to say this, because this reminds me of the double standard, I guess, with men and women. And like, by the way, I know I fucked up. I'll do it next time, guys. You guys remember the movie Disclosure?
I have it.
Michael Douglas, Demi Moore, Dennis Miller's actually in it. It's set in, there's like a Kurt Cobain doppelganger in there. They were playing off the grunge music.
It's in Seattle.
That's about reverse sexual harassment.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Because the other day I listened to a podcast with Dana Carvey and David Spade, and they had Dennis Miller on, and he was in Disclosure, and they kind of referenced it, and then it popped into my head. That movie is about what we're talking about here. There's a fucking scene, and you remember, like, they were almost like emasculating Michael Douglas, where there was Roma Mafia. She's like, this is a man getting harassed. Think about that. And Disclosure might be the movie we need to go to as a template for what this is.
Mm-hmm. Remember the time what the media was saying when that movie came out? They're like, yeah, look at her. You go, girl.
Yeah.
Get that man, or get that meat, whatever they said. But it was just laughed at.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking of too, and you brought this, it might have been you that brought this up, and maybe I'm just running with it. The whole thing now, this has been going on for a few years in school systems, where the hot 33-year-old female teacher has sex with the 16-year-old, and that's cool. It's like, oh, good for you. And yet, if it was the other way, you'd go to jail for 30 years. So if it's like the 40-year-old teacher has, sex with the 16-year-old girl in AP English, you're a monster and you're canceled from life. But if it's reverse, it's a slap on the wrist. Maybe she goes, we don't, even if she goes to jail, we don't take it seriously. And that's a great way to look at the reverse kind of, where when you flip it, it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, in this case, you just go back to that one little snippet of audio. I don't know what the motion of my hand was, but I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you. Reverse the sexes on that. If a man says that to his wife, we're done. He's in prison for 20 years.
Thank you, David. So Sunflower Dragon writes, I used to manage a business, and I used to tell my guy employees that they may be subjected to harassment, but that was a joke. Right. If that was reversed, you could sue the guy for God knows what.
I guess we're caught up. Okay. So again, you call the next play. What do you want to go to next?
You want to go to all the stuff you have lined up?
Yeah. Do you want to do Kate Moss? I don't mean that way.
Who am I, Pete Doherty over here?
Ugh. So gross. At the time, I was like,
So I want to thank NA, who I believe lit the trail for this Kate Moss unauthorized biography, which oftentimes is better than the one. And apparently hers is terrible. She has one too, and it's like very softball-y. They skip out on a lot of things, and this one's hardcore. A lot of times the unauthorized biography is more truthful than the actual biography. In Howard's case, that is 100% true. The Paul Colford one versus Private Parts, which is utter science fiction. And so I went in, and I spent a lot of time for you guys on my day off yesterday and went into the voiceover studio. I didn't do multiple takes. I just needed to get a copy, and I just was like, so I did like a sassy Mr. Feeny, sassy magazine editor, Mr. Feeny, who could be a little swishy, and I narrated just the Johnny Depp parts in the Kate Moss book, where they meet and their relationship, and there's a lot of weird stuff in here that I had not heard, and then I went in and I took the testimony from Whitney Heard in the UK, because you did not see the full testimony. It is way more detailed than what you saw on Wednesday. She was on Wednesday, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, she was on Wednesday. So, and I narrated that just using my regular voice. And so that's all. And they're long. So we're going to play it. Sarah's got I recorded it and gave it to Sarah. And we're going to stop it when we feel like it to talk through it.
Yeah, I put the video together. What this is, there are some clips in the beginning of taking you back to 1994 with Depp and Kate Moss setting the scene. Of course, we all remember it. But
starting at the Viper Room, which we did a special on. We did we should do another one. There's a lot of Viper Room stuff in here, but I started from he's at the Viper Room, the River Phoenix stuff goes down, and he meets what's the matter, Sarah?
I don't have that in there. I don't remember anything about the Viper.
No, I read it in the
audio. Okay. I'm talking about the videos. Okay.
It's just me reading. I read it where he is coming off the Viper Room murder, the death of River Phoenix.
Okay.
And then it segues to Kate Moss. I just wanted to give some context to where it was in the year and stuff. Welcome, Madrika.
Yes.
And Pablo Papano and Pelel and new people. I'm seeing. Little Zeb. Welcome to the family, Little Zeb.
Let me get this started and I'll put some chats up while it's playing.
Ever since the mantle of celebrity was bestowed upon him, Johnny Depp has been hounded by a prying and always ravenous tabloid press. His rumored multiple engagements and highly publicized romances have been the source of much of the paparazzi's focus, occasionally evoking Depp's need to give them a taste of their own medicine.
What? When are you guys getting married? Getting married soon?
Are you going to change your underwear tomorrow?
Johnny's animosity towards the paparazzi has escalated over the years and has led on more than one occasion to his being cast as Hollywood's perennial bad boy.
But I mean, it all makes for interesting copy. Fun sort of reading. There's been a tremendous amount of fiction written.
I understand his point of view because I don't think he got into acting to be, on the cover of Hello magazine.
He's not out doing public appearance. He's not.
Okay, you know him from Thursday, guys. That's his friend Bruce Whitkin. He started the trot. That's his friend. He looks a lot different. That's the John Turturro, Al Pacino doppelganger we were talking about. So that's his longtime friend from Miramar, who's in the Kids. He's also in the Hollywood Vampires. They no longer speak. I want to know more behind that. I know it's a money thing. I believe Whitkin misappropriated $7 million of Depp's music production company and Unison Infinitum Nihil. And so this is what he was. This is from because I know, Sarah, you did a brilliant job here because you Ed Woodicized this. You took the clips I gave you and you made them black and white and you made a compilation out of them, which is
some of them
like
that
you made your own video here. It's great.
Well, some of them that I'm not sure how we will fare with YouTube policy have been altered slightly.
Okay, good. It's Bruce Whitkin. So the Deppening logo is covering Bruce Whitkin. You see it on the left. Yeah, Pelel, he's going for that Elvis Costello thing, I believe, because that Depp's band was kind of the Kids, that original band, the sound was kind of like, I want to say Replacements meets Elvis Costello. And he's clearly going for that deliberately. He looks a lot like his friend Sal Blowfish, too. He's a cross between John Turturro and Blowfish.
Yeah. He looks like the lead singer of Sully from Godsmack to me. Like a fat Sully.
Who am I, Sully from Godsmack, for Christ's sake?
All right, here we go.
Johnny, 300
It's not on Hollywood Boulevard. Why do they have the right to bother him? And that's what I think bothers him the most.
Johnny took matters into his own hands in a London restaurant in 1999 when photographers refused to heed his repeated requests to be left alone to enjoy a
loves him some Sarah. Kevin Cowie loves him some Sarah. I'm sorry.
I agree, Kevin. I think they should take less of a cut of our money. It's never going to happen.
That's 3 times buck.
Amateur photographers with a wooden plank, which I approved of.
Look, the paparazzi are relentless.
Tracy Jacobs.
Tracy Jacobs, everyone. You saw her on Thursday.
With a different wig.
Coming back to you. I know this is I might say, this is if anyone remembers, I might be the only one. Bravo, when Bravo was Bravo and wasn't Fruit Baskets, it used to have like avant-garde kind of artsy programming, and they had a lot of documentaries like this, and they did a 2-hour documentary in 2003, I believe. He was promoting the first Pirates, and so this is from that. This is 19 years ago.
Okay, let's get back to this.
By the way, before I forget, the last Thompson clip's not some throwaway thing. He goes, well, from what I understand, he took a plank of wood and he marched the paparazzi backwards, which I obviously agree with. So that's where Depp gets his outlaw attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You see absolutely. That? Tom is very impressed by that, and that's why Depp, that drives his brain. Don't think for a second that it doesn't. Between that and Brando, that what Thompson just said is so key to this whole thing. What we're here. Depp has got an outlaw, I don't give a shit, insouciant personality. And if you meet Thompson's approval when you're trying to impress your heroes, that's all that matters. And what Thompson said right there is everything.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. This is like the A-list of his group at the time, his inner circle.
Oh, CB missed. Yeah, you just missed a little Thompson clip.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if Sarah wants. It's just not a big deal.
He might show up again.
I think Johnny's never going to court them ever. I think he never has. He's never going to. That's just a fact of life. You know, as long as he's famous, they're going to be around.
There's no way to fight this huge media animal, you know, other than to just keep silent and try to grow more middle fingers, you know.
That's a good GIF right there, Sarah. We should make.
Hold on. Okay.
Use that as a GIF.
I got sad when you put that right middle finger up. I was like, "Oh, dude, protect that."
That's what.
Okay. Sorry, it's pausing. Okay.
There are more coming.
Very tough to find footage of these two together.
What? Sorry.
Very tough to find footage of these two together in video form and Winona Ryder.
Yeah. Getty Images, they have a lot of good videos, by the way, when I was searching for old Amber Heard red carpet stuff. FYI.
Folks, keep moving down the carpet.
Tina Bobina, Ben Benjamin, welcome. Red is Deputy Bobina Side.
Is it hard? Don Juan is probably one of the most romantic characters in British literature. Would you talk yourself as a romantic? Ladies, if you just want to keep walking. I don't know. You have to just keep moving. Johnny?
Marlon Brando, what does he mean to you?
What does he mean to me?
Yeah.
God damn, he's handsome. Okay.
See, that look is what he should have in the trial.
He's 30 years older now.
You know what that hair is in preparation for?
I'm going to tell you. That is in preparation for...
If you can get this, I'll be very impressed.
I can't think of the movie name. Nick of Time?
Yes, good for you.
Thank
I can't
you.
believe you got that. That was my avatar.
I wanted to call it Fairfax because I was thinking about your avatar. Okay.
Fairfax of Time. That's my new movie. That's my new follow-up. We'll have the trial in real time, and it'll be 140 hours, and you just sit in the theater and watch it.
David, I gotta say, I was watching that video. I agree. I was
Good job, Maury boy. You got it too. Okay.
Yep. I was like, that's a supermodel. Okay. Petty time over. We'll play.
Who's the guy behind Depp? He looks like John Tesh and Carson Kressley.
John Tesh is like 10 feet taller, so I don't know.
The blonde Frankenstein. By the way, the chat's so brilliant. If the Stern Show had our chat as their writers, it might be worth subscribing to Sirius.
Agreed. All right, here we go.
It means a lot to me. I don't know. I mean,
what acting have you learned from him? Did you learn any acting styles from him?
I don't think that acting styles can be. You can't really exchange that sort of thing, you know. Johnny? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Papa in the movie. Now, hi. So what part do you play in this movie?
What's that?
What part do you play in this movie?
I just have a very small part. I just have a cameo. It's just a quick walk-on. I sell mayonnaise to some guy on the street.
Can you tell us a little about your character?
Okay, look, I'm sorry. Sarah? Pause it. Behind Depp? She just slithered in behind him?
Nope.
Round here, always stand up straight. Adam Duritz just scrolling in behind him.
That would be the time frame, yep, for the Duritz man.
That's exactly right. Nice nickname.
You know, I don't know a thing about him. I really don't know a thing about him. Johnny? Johnny! What's that? The young lady with you tonight?
He is 1,000 times better than Benji Maury boy. It's not even the same species.
Hey, tell him Johnny.
What's faster? Give us a name. Okay. What's your right theater?
Nate Dunaway next to him on his left. Brando's not on the red carpet, huh?
Of course not. He never went to red carpet.
He's a star. He's a co-star.
I'm turning the volume down on it.
Depp's so consistent. Like his relationship with the fans, it's the same thing. He runs into behind the velvet rope and hugs someone, and so he doesn't. There's no relent. He's always been so convivial. Thank you, Gina.
God damn, he's handsome.
When are you guys getting married? Getting married soon?
Are you going to change your underwear tomorrow?
What do you think about Selena's death?
Oh, Selena, right?
I know. I'm turning the volume up a little bit.
I just heard about it, and it was, obviously, it's very shocking.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to work with her on the film?
Just a little bit, you know, but not a whole lot. But I mean, she was very talented, and it's a real loss. It's a tremendous loss.
Thank you very much.
There's a
Glass Morris underneath him, right?
Special.
On his right. He loves that underwear. He loves underwear jokes. If you know Depp's quotes over the years, one time they asked him, he goes, What did you get for Pirates? And he goes, you know, a box of Cracker Jacks and like 5 pairs of underwear.
Hello, how are you?
Now the go-to is alpacas. Did you see?
Yeah,
let me pause for a second while Celia Ward is talking. You watch when she's talking. Depp comes up behind her and gives like a death glare, which is hilarious to me.
Oh, okay.
But I thought about cutting her out, but I wanted to leave that in. What was I gonna say? Oh, they asked the Disney representative who knew nothing, by the way, if she was familiar with his comment about he wouldn't work again for Disney for hundreds of millions of dollars and 1 million alpacas or whatever. Depp pumps his fist like, yes, like I wouldn't. You're right.
I remember that. It
was so funny.
It's interesting. Selena David came out right around the same 2-week period as Donnie Brasco in '97. It was a great year for movies. Private Parts came out the same day as Donnie Brasco, and it was like this great year for the biopic film like that. It was actually 97 is a great year for movies. It's so strong that Brasco wasn't even nominated, which is crazy because
that is crazy. Okay, let's get through Steele Award here. She's promoting Sisters. Remember that Saturday night abortion on NBC? Yeah, I do.
Oh my God.
I watched it.
Did you really?
Horrible.
What year are we talking with that?
Mid-90s.
I bet you David did the soundtrack for it with an orchestra.
He's not that old.
I know. Yeah,
he's
well,
not my age.
He could. He's David's birth. You know, he's the president of 114 Productions. So it's January 14th, 1989. David, did I get that right? Your fake age.
All right. I want to get through this so we can get to your brilliant reading.
Enjoy the party. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to us. Hello, Johnny.
Oh my God, that's Tracy Jacobs, Sarah.
I know.
Folks, when are you guys getting married? Getting married soon?
Oh, just repeat?
Yeah, just repeat.
Are you going to change your underwear?
Let me skip ahead.
You just do. I mean, you just.
Okay, this is
try and help in any way you can. I mean, there's a lot of people.
The Big Breakfast.
Will jump on just.
Yeah, I had to.
For
good for you.
Publicity, but. I mean, this is obviously a very serious thing that's going on.
Oh my God. And, David, I got a request for you. My prerogative on the piano.
Being killed and.
We've seen
a lot of families being ousted, you know. So.
It's David's prerogative.
This is one I'm real happy to help if I can.
Okay, can you just remind us again what the War Child Project's about?
Well, the charity distributes money to other agencies which take food and set up.
I hope we hear her talk in about a week. That'd be great.
And, medical, social, and food is basically what they're trying to get together down there.
We've got the address. If you'd like to give your pledges, this is what today has been about. War Child, P.O. Box 100, Salisbury. War Child, P.O. Box 100, Salisbury. What do you keep giggling at? What do you keep giggling at?
Like underwear.
Sean.
Underwear, I didn't know.
Poor Sean. He doesn't get out of bed for less than 52 pounds. It's true about Sean. Now, we've talked about the War Child, and as we've got you here, Johnny, we'll just have a little matter with you, if we may. The whole Johnny Depp scenario, this whole obsession that women are supposed to be falling at your feet wherever you go, but no matter where you two go, you're followed by the paparazzi. How does it feel being this idol, this creative sort of Johnny Depp thing and Kate Moss thing?
I don't really know anything about that stuff.
Does it happen?
It's the ski cap generation.
Well, everyone following the paparazzi.
It's a pea hat, by the way.
Yeah, they're pretty
Light
good.
broom.
They could.
I'd smell that
They're
meanie.
very similar to mosquitoes.
Oh my God.
You know?
Is that anti-Semitism?
How do you feel when they're following you in everything?
You smell like meanies?
No, that's not what I said.
Well, subtlety's right out the window. That's the first thing. I mean, there's about 1,000 flash bulbs going on. I mean, it kind of.
So is the image true? The Johnny Depp image that we read about in
I don't
papers?
know. I don't know of any image.
And how about the TV? I mean, does it frustrate you with your relationship that it's so public because they're following all the time?
No, because they don't really know anything. They just presume. They've all these sorts that make all these allegations.
It makes for very good fiction. Actually.
Yeah, exactly.
They write some really interesting stories.
Did they ever actually ask you though? Because you were saying earlier with Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi's on the front page of the Star today saying she's marrying Prince Albert. And I said nobody actually rings up to say, are you going to marry Prince Albert before they print the story?
He banged Naomi Campbell too.
Do it, because it makes good news.
Who they're talking about.
I'm going to marry Prince Albert.
You're marrying Prince Albert, exclusive here on the Big Breakfast.
I'm going to marry him in Cannes.
Do you two then, is it hard for your relationship?
In Cannes.
You're going to marry Prince Albert in Cannes?
In Cannes.
So you're not marrying
Prince
Kate
Albert's
Moss,
a penis euphemism, right?
Yeah. For a pierced penis.
Does it make it harder to keep the relationship going when it's in the public eye?
No. Johnny?
I like that Depp smoke.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
I have a similar laugh though.
Where's the tattoo that we always hear about?
I don't know.
The one that you've had. Have you got any tattoos that we can just have a look at?
No, I don't have any tattoos. These are just doodles, ink pen.
What do you mean?
You just write them, you draw them in. You haven't got the tattoo on your arm anymore.
No, they're all gone.
They've all
Show
gone.
the Winona
Yeah,
Forever
skin
tattoo
graft.
next to Kate.
David.
Really?
David
What?
C. About 94 to 97
Yep.
is the timeline with those two.
Yeah, skin graft, major.
Yeah.
Can we see?
Sandblasted.
Can I see?
No.
My skin graft?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little new at this
Oh,
point.
really? Is this for real?
No, they're all there. They're all, everything's
Take
fine.
your word for it. Okay.
They're all there.
Well, both of you, thank you very much. I know you
Thank
rushed
you.
over. We did get you out of the shower and out of bed. Thank you very much. And when you do get married, I wish you very many happy years together.
And when you get married,
I've
still
done
together.
it. Go for it. It's a
when you
really
get
good
divorced,
feeling.
I wish you many happy years.
It's a good feeling. I hope I won't do that. Now it's time to go over to Mark and Lily.
Oh, go on. Well, there you go.
The Big Breakfast is on air until 9:30. We're supporting the War Child project. We've got the 5 supermodels in the house.
Jim
And
Jarmusch,
hopefully we've got
in
top
black and white.
producer, the guy that produced the brand new James Bond album, singing with Tina Turner. Nellie Hooper, are you on the line?
Hello there.
Good morning, Nellie. I'm leaving you in the capable hands of Naomi.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Nellie.
I'm going to make a point.
I gotta say, that's a bitch.
You are not.
I've talked to her.
Wow.
I think she was on some whitey stuff, and it didn't help that she was in a...
You have Naomi Campbell stories. You have John Mayer stories, Richard Marx, and who else am I forgetting?
Jessica Simpson's father.
Oh, Joe Simpson. He's
Yeah,
gay
I
now,
forgot
right?
his name. Yeah.
I did not get a gay vibe
But she
out of
was
him
like,
when I first saw him.
she was hopped up on something, and she was in a room. It sounded like full of at least 10 people, and I needed her attention,
Right.
and I couldn't get it.
Yep.
I think it just ended
What year are we
badly.
talking?
Early, maybe 2003.
So this is when cell phones are just taking shape,
Yeah.
where they're getting.
She had a sidekick, a T-Mobile sidekick. I had to fix
That
it
was
for her.
around back then in 03?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was like the height of that shit phone that all the celebrities had. Because T-Mobile, what they did, they sent that phone out to all the celebrities that they could send it out to for free. So they could be seen out and about with their T-Mobile sidekick. Unfortunately, when they called some of them, which was weird. They didn't like have their representatives do it. So they would call, and it was a nightmare trying to get their phone fixed for them over the phone. My God, she was the worst.
Do you remember this? This is obviously the perfect crowd to do this to, and this is your MO too, because you love Jackie. Do you remember? And I wish I could have thought about this, because I think I could, if I really want to go back, and maybe I could do it next time. Kate Moss and this modeling squad were somewhere at an event, and Stuttering John got to them, and Jackie wrote them the to me anyway, the funniest question I've ever. John asked them, "You're doing Estee Lauder. Do you mind if I call it Estee Loitering?" Meaning they have no skills, and all you're really doing is loitering. That models is just a euphemism. I don't remember. Like, maybe it's just to me and the mood I was in. I just was cackling at that line. I don't know why.
I think it was the mood.
I don't want to
you're in.
oversell it. What? The mood I'm in?
I
don't know.
think
Does anybody like that line as much as I do? Estee Loitering. I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It is. It's clever. I love Sarah. Oh, yeah.
Roustabout. Let's talk about a roustabout.
Let's get through these twits here
Kate
so we
smells
can
like
get to
fish
your
and chips.
reading. Oh, God. Ew.
Oh, God.
Well, remember who she went with after Pete Doherty.
It's always
my
the Great
God.
South Bay with her. You got to remember that.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Easter Alexa.
Because Naomi said she wouldn't get out of bed this morning for less than 1,000 quid, so I'm going to give her 1,000 quid. Yeah, you can pay the other 9 though, that's what the deal is.
There we go. He said, you pay the other 9, he'll pay 1,000 for the 10,000.
I'll pay the other 9.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Nellie, thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Fantastic, Naomi. Thank you.
Can we see a supermodel like getting out of bed for 10,000 quid?
She's not here, is she?
Oh, yeah. It's not bitchy at all, is
She's
it?
on serious forms, buddy. Right, I'm very pleased to say that we did something a bit cheeky this morning on the Big Breakfast.
Yes, we extended by half an hour.
Yeah, we said this morning on the Big Breakfast, we had a chat with Kate, and I sort of put Kate on the spot, and I said, would you mind if you asked Johnny to join us? So live on air, we asked Johnny Depp to join us, and very excited, Johnny Depp's in there!
Well, it's a golden opportunity. Hey.
What's that word, Lou?
This morning.
Good night, mate. Do you like a pillow?
Hey.
Good to meet you, mate.
I think I got one.
Yeah, you right? Good to meet you, man. How are you? Well done. Coming down?
Well, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, seriously, how did last night go? The recording?
Oh, it's craving and needle.
It was really fun.
Yeah? We heard from Noel.
Arm crawls out from the sheets. Guess who?
Played the guitar well. You're pleased with your performance last night?
Never. But they say I played the guitar. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. I don't know if it was good, but...
Well, he said it wasn't bad with Phil, but Johnny...
Oh, yeah, they were great.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, the album, when does the album actually come out? Do you know when the album comes out itself?
Oh, you heard that, Ben?
The Help album. Kate, do you know when it comes out?
Friday.
Saturday?
Saturday.
And they're still... Are they recording it as we speak?
Yeah, all from midnight last night to
adapted an
midnight
Irish
tonight.
accent, yeah.
All the bands are going to record a song.
He's from everywhere.
Yes, wake up, Mr.
Poor bloke.
Owensboro.
This is a...
They call Little Ireland. They call Owensboro Little Ireland. I'm just kidding.
This is kind of like a collective awake. This is unbelievable.
Johnny, this must be quite sort of normal for you because of Don Juan, the Markle sitting in bed
He
with
loves
many
Indian
girls.
style.
No, in fact...
It's
Anyone
called...
watches 21 Jump Street? A. Smith, this is for you. 21 Jump Street, Depp loves to sit on the inappropriately on the desks, Indian style.
It's called Native American style seating.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just been told. Oh, sorry, I have to interrupt because Amber and Naomi, you have a plane to catch apparently, and I've been told that you actually have to leave. Is this true?
Washington Redskins
I've
sitting.
missed it? No.
You've missed it.
No, I haven't missed it. It'll wait.
Oh, there we
Johnny
are.
Depp Muse.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Okay,
So that's the scene. So, you ready for
It's
arms?
very difficult to find Kate Moss footage speaking. Even there, that's like she's like one of the focal points. She barely said a word. It's very tough to find speaking footage of her to this day.
Yeah. David, Kate Moss has super separated eyes. Yeah, she could walk into a room and look at 2 out of the 4 walls at the same time.
She has a type. Depp has a type, and you can see it all. This monofilament running through these broads.
Mm-hmm.
They're very waifish and anorexic and demure, and it's not all of them, but is most of them. It's funny too. I think I say it in this when reading this book. Vanessa and Kate Moss had the same modeling contract. I think the same. I think I go into it here. I can't remember what it is. It's
all right.
I think Vanessa turned it down. But the Canadians in our chat know a lot about Vanessa, which I didn't realize. I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. The French Canadians, the Bobinas, the G Canadas, the Montreal ones. But okay, so this is thanks to NA, the Kate Moss unauthorized biography, and I just did like a swishy Mr. Feeny, kind of like a sassy magazine editor altered version, and I kind of I slip into Depp here and there when they quote him. Just to mix it up, and it's kind of tedious. It took me a long time to record this, and I was just like, so here we go. This is from the book, and you can stop it whenever you feel like it, Sarah. I really don't.
You tell me when to stop. I'm just going to listen.
Okay. Was to play Louis Jordan on the segue into the Velvet Underground. The place quickly turned into a scene for celeb partying. It was dubbed the gold standard of cool, and the place to behave badly. However, the ambulance chasing got a little too real when the Viper habitué, River Phoenix, died on the sidewalk just outside the club. The fanatically vegan movie star had overdosed on heroin, cocaine, speedball. Depp was defensive, even shrill. When River passed away, it happened to be at my club. Now, it's very tragic and very, very sad, but they made it a fiasco of lies to sell fucking magazines. And they said he was doing drugs in my club, and then I allow people to do drugs in my club. What a ridiculous fucking thought. Hey, I'm going to spend a lot of money on this nightclub so everyone can come here and do drugs. And then that's a good idea, don't you think? will never get found out. But it's not like this place is high profile or anything, right? I mean, that lie was ridiculous and disrespectful to River. But aside from River and his
Arlo,
family
welcome.
trying to deal with their loss, what about the people who work in the club? You know, they have rooms and dads in, like, Oklahoma reading about this place. And when their daughter tends bar and just thinking, Jesus, she's out there in Hollywood swimming around with these awful creatures. He went on. It was awful for my nieces and nephews to read that stuff, to have every two-bit pseudo journalist speculating, viciously, and it hurt. So I closed the club for a few nights to get out of the way, so Rivers fans could bring messages and bring flowers, and I got angry. I made a statement to the press. Fuck you. I will not be disrespectful to Rivers' memory, and I will not participate in your fucking circus. Depp's own circus continued. The club blossomed in the wake of this ghoulish incident for years, after tourists would pose for pictures on the very spot where River vomited to death. It was 4 months after that incident that Depp found himself sitting at a table with friends in Cafe Tayback. He'd noticed Kate Moss sitting there in the Calvin Klein crew. It wasn't all that romantic. He recalled. She was sitting at a table with some friends, and I knew one of them. Depp invited them both over. For Kate, it was more auspicious. I knew from the first moment we talked that we were going to be together. I've never had that before. He's sweet. Kate had fancied Depp before they even met. He was her pinup. Kate, I was doing pictures for Calvin Klein, and the photographer had stacks of pictures of Johnny. He wanted the style of the advertising to be like the pictures of Johnny. There was Johnny everywhere, and this photographer was like all the time, find me a girl, find me a girl. And I said, introduce me to Johnny, and I'll find you a girlfriend. So I had these pictures in the house months before we met. And when we meet, it was fate. I was reading this book on the plane, Celestine Prophecy. It was said there are always signs in divine intervention. You see the sign, and you can take it on. The book says that you must be aware of coincidences in your life, because they're not coincidences. For instance, compare the way you got in your career and into your relationship. Well, this was weird because they were both the same. My career started because I got stuck in JFK and then approached by the agency. When I met my boyfriend, I was stuck in a hotel room. Good or bad, things are meant to be. 2 weeks later, the pair ended the inevitable speculation by appearing as an item by mid-February premiere of a short film made by Depp called Banter. This was during one of these worthy events in the fashion industry likes to display its heart of gold. This is the case with a $100 ticket. The LA Times reported on the gala's dress code, nodding at Vogue editor Anna Wintour's leather mini, these silver buckles and
You say something?
I just wanted to pause.
Okay.
So during this, and I had, thanks to Boff, if you're listening to, because he immediately gave me a link to this, and I have this. Depp did a kind of a short film called Banter. Ironically, it's an anti-drug film, and you'll see kind of this weird, spiraling, walking contradictory hypocrisy come back when the narration goes into that. And so this is circa, I want to say this is 1994. He just has a thing at the Viper Room. So there's a Sarah, who's the soap opera actor who has it comes on later, but River Phoenix just dies. So he's still coming. And this is the height of these two and the it couple and this kind of in between Winona Ryder, he has a tryst with Juliette Lewis, and it doesn't get any play. Sarah, do you ever remember reading about, I mean, you just assume that everybody he's in a movie with, he has a tryst with, but yet it got nothing back then. And she was with Brad Pitt from the days of California, the movie they did in the early 90s.
Yeah, right before California. Through probably, God, California was 92, I think. Sorry, this isn't a
And
Brad Pitt podcast.
through this, you'll see, and if I forget to harp on this, he also has relationships with a model named. Now I remember her name during the Jump Street years, so maybe she even goes back to the late '80s. Does anybody know who Tally Chanel is? Does she have any relationship to a perfume company or something? Chanel? No, that's clothing.
I don't know.
That's how you know I'm not gay yet. I don't know what that is. It's whatever that is, perfume or Chanel. And might be spelled differently. And another broad who comes up, and I forget her name. It was more forgettable, but I had not seen this name until NA gave me the link to this book. It's another model he supposedly dated.
She's a very 80s looking Tally Chanel.
You looked her up?
God, she's got the bleach blonde hair that's blown and forked out.
And she's considered a model?
This is like a bikini
very William
model.
Daniels, David, right? That's kind of what I'm going for, like a swishy Mr. Feeny. Like if Mr. Feeny were like Russell Crowe, senior editor, Sassy magazine.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Looking at her pictures, I wouldn't think this was his type. But okay.
I have a couple of obvious gaffes when I read this, but it took so long to do it that I said they'll understand. I'm not submitting this to James L. Brooks.
Or
Hank
catching up on
Azaria.
chat. Yeah,
Okay.
You are Hank Azaria.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm going to start it again.
Chairs, skin-tight leather pants. Both ladies were surrounded by circles of adoring men. Women's wear daily gushed that some of the Hollywood's trendiest names packed Smashbox, a Culver City photo studio turned into a party house, to welcome the designer Tuesday night at the Neiman Marcus party to benefit DARE, drug abuse, resistance, education, and Moss, his new amour, were there, but so was Depp's recent ex, model Tatiana Patitz.
That's it.
Who didn't give him the time of day.
Can we look her up? Tatiana Patitz.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can go by my phonetic attempt. It's really weird spelling. If you could somehow find this. Tallywhacker, Brian
if I can
Johnny.
put it up.
Okay. You don't have to show it. Just see if you can get an opinion on it. Arm's narration is a touch of Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. Hello, Clarice.
Okay, repeat the name.
Guys, you remember what? God, I forgot already. Fuck.
Leather mini, these silver buckles and shares, skin-tight leather pants. Both ladies were surrounded by circles of adoring men. Women's wear daily gushed that some of the Hollywood's trendiest names packed Smashbox, a Culver City photo studio turned into a party house, to welcome the designer Tuesday night at the Neiman Marcus party to benefit DARE, drug abuse, resistance, education, and Moss, his new amour, were there, but so was Depp's recent ex, model Tatiana Patitz, who didn't give him the time of day.
Something like that. Ayla, you got it. I think that's it, Ayla.
A grainy and gritty plea for the kids to stay away from substances. Esquire commented it was a gruesome but provocative excursion into the world of hard drugs, ironically. But according to the LA Times, the crowd wasn't terribly attentive. The paper speculated perhaps they were distracted by the likes of Heather Locklear or Linda Evangelista, Tatiana Patitz, and Jean Triplehorn.
Ooh, Jean Triplehorn. Anyway.
Ben Stiller's ex-wife. Or
Tatiana Patitz is a German model and actress who achieved international prominence in the 80s and 90s, representing fashion designers on runways and in magazines such as Elle, Harper's Bazaar, and Vogue. She's one
David
of the
Seago's.
big
She's not
five
very super.
She's one of the big five supermodels who appeared in the 1990 music. Oh, okay, I know who she is.
What appeared in what?
In the 90s music video Freedom. Yeah.
Oh, the George Michael video. Damn, that's okay. I mean, I don't remember the specific models in that, but
yeah, I'm looking at a black and white photo of her. Yeah, I recognize her.
It's always fucking models with him. God damn it. As we find out here, and we found it through Tracy Jacobs and the Jennifer Grey thing we just did. These guys they're just hooking them up. They just it's like prostitution. These agents are just pimping out their clients and they're hooking them all up. Nobody used to do. You thought their life was great. They don't have to even work to get. And Depp has more options than PlayStation 5, and he doesn't even have to go looking for broads.
Mm-hmm.
They just serve to him like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're one of these 5,000 models from the 90s, Johnny Depp is an option. Yes, you're jumping on it.
And it also commented that we were not sure what exactly distracted Depp and sweetheart Kate Moss. They stayed out of sight most of the night. After the party, a select group retired to the Viper Room. As a couple, Kate Moss and Johnny Depp were tabloid manna. Packs of paparazzi chased them everywhere. In the first blush of love, the pair obliged with photogenic displays of necking and nuzzling. Particularly on beaches that March, vacationing in the West Indies on a luxury yacht, they were spotted snogging on the island of St. Bart's. Then in April, they were pictured nuzzling on the island of St. Bart's. The news of the world quoted and...
Mm-hmm.
I also want to apologize to any UK brethren. It's obviously written with British nomenclature, so I'm trying my best with these fucking words. I only did it
You're
once.
doing fine.
And I just throwing these words at me. I'm like snoggling, everything, bollocks and all that crap. And so I'm trying my best to work through the British speak.
You overachieved. Good job.
Decided holiday maker. They couldn't keep their hands off each other now and were getting quite raunchy. Every time we looked at them, they were kissing and canoodling, totally oblivious to anyone else on the beach.
Canoodling,
a friend of Depp's recorded Johnny's...
Okay, what?
Canoodling was a huge, huge, huge word in the 90s, and it seems to have been retired, replaced with gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. God, you're never going to give that up.
Always falling in love, but he's absolutely besotted by Kate. Kate was equally entranced. I can't believe it. It's like nothing that has ever happened to me before. I knew this was it. In early April, The Tanned and Couple of the Moment appeared in the New York premiere of John Waters' black comedy Serial Mom. It was a fashion event, rubbing shoulders. Kate and Johnny, their Theory Mugler and Linda Evangelista and Naomi Campbell, not to mention the intriguing combination of Quentin Crisp and Patty Hearst. Maybe it was the happy atmosphere that inspired Kate later that month to anticipate now marriage. When a fan asked for her autograph at yet another premiere, she signed Kate Moss Depp. Johnny was annoyed and was said to have scolded her for that.
Can I, Sarah, say something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're reading this because there was a Kate Moss mention. I mean, we were going to do this show anyway, but it was a good excuse to just jump into Kate Moss, which is a very mysterious chapter in his life, even though it's like 4 years or 3.5 years. So Amber Heard obviously made the mention of Kate Moss in the stairs. Ben Chu literally high fives Camille. He fist bumps Depp. And there's this huge celebration. We don't quite know what they're talking about. So we feel I'm calling through this, and NA sent me this because we're trying to figure out and piece together what the connection is. And so throughout this, you're going to see some weird temper tantrums from Depp that line up to a lot of the negativity he's gotten in this trial from her side. And it lines up, and it's going to seem like, okay, they are telling the truth about some of this. Because this came out before the trial. There's no smear campaign here. There's nothing here this is just the way this was written in this book. So there's a lot of consistency in some of his temper tantrums and jealousy fits of rage. So just be on call for that.
A few months later into the relationship, Kate introduced Johnny to a mother, Linda. Kate rang and asked if I'd like to come on holiday to Necker Island in the Caribbean with her and Johnny. He was renting the whole island for privacy now. She only gave me a week's notice, which is usual for her. But as only I do little part-time work, I was able to go. I was pretty excited about staying.
Sorry, guys. I know that was a quick one. I just want to say this, too. I also want to know this, and Sarah, you know this. Depp, even back then, he had not had a huge hit yet, okay? Sleepy Hollow is the first movie he does that does 9 figures, and that's in 1999. He's Mr. Indie Boy, Dead Man, Ed Wood, What's Even, Gilbert Grape. Don Juan DeMarco comes out, I think, a little bit after this. There's Nick of Time. None of these movies are huge. So this motherfucker's renting islands. Where is the money coming from? I mean, nobody knows his career trajectory better than I do. How are you renting islands at that juncture?
$12 drinks at the Viper Room.
Classic Sarah. That's really good. That's really $18 Amstel lights at the Viper Room.
Yeah. $12 waters. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't add up. This doesn't add up.
Yeah, he got it somewhere. So.
Well, the whole thing with Anthony Fox, right? And the money, the Viper Room.
That, in my opinion, was proven false. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
On a private island where I wasn't nervous at all about meeting Johnny, although I wanted him to like me. I flew out somewhere or other, then on to the Necker by helicopter. Johnny and Kate ran across to meet me, then took me to this lovely villa. And the cook and a maid and everything was taken care of now. I'd read some of this bad stuff about Johnny, but I never judge people until I meet them. So when I met Johnny, I liked him a lot, I find.
45,000 an episode.
Him quiet and shy and, well, nice. He was probably more nervous than I was, in fact. Of course, it doesn't really matter what I think. I've never interfered with Kate's choice of boyfriends anyway. And it's not going to start now. We spent a lot of time together lazing around sunbathing and talking over dinner at night. Even though I was very luxurious and we went out on a yacht and all that, it was very relaxed and not at all nerve-wracking. The villa was so large, we were able to have our own privacy. Johnny was very sweet, very attentive to Kate and I, and we could see he cared about her. I think his bad boy image is all hype, and seeing them together, I feel they were equally crazy about each other. Back in London, Peter Moss also approved in this clipped accent. She said he is quite a nice chap. She seemed to be quite keen on him. Kate's not a silly person. She knows what she likes, and he apparently has been quite nice to her, volunteering. Johnny Depp is not dissimilar to Mario. Kate also introduced Johnny to Croydon. They visited Soray Market and bought sausages, then on to Linda's now. Linda says, Kate called me and called to say she'd been round half an hour. I was lying on the sofa recovering from minor operations, so I couldn't even tidy the house or cook dinner. She and Johnny turned up in this huge limo now. Kate had been now showing Johnny all of her local haunts. They cooked sausages and mash for us all, and Johnny told me he really enjoyed it all. Johnny had shaved his little beard off now, and I told him he looked much better else. And so young. He's so shy that he was really now embarrassed.
His Gilbert Grapes?
But Johnny was not always so sweet. A bouncer at the Viper Room reported, I've heard people describe Johnny as shy and well-mannered. He is when he's sober. When he drinks, he gets a bad temper. It was reported that on more than one occasion, he objected and could become moody and belligerent when other men seemed overly interested in Kate. On Geraldo, an American syndicated talk show, the host related how Johnny's just jealous as Brad Pitt is now, the second most gorgeous guy in Hollywood. Another one, totally possessive. He worries about Kate Moss all the time. Remember, she did a campaign for Calvin Klein with a really gorgeous model named Michael Bergen. And I guess...
May I say, Michael Bergen was also known as the man that Carolyn Bessette cheated on JFK Jr. with.
Oh, wow.
He wrote a book.
That's the catchiest of catches. JFK Jr., right, Elaine Vanessa and Jeannie Bobina?
Bergen wrote a book called The Other Man. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So he's considered the other man in his life all the time?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you have the book?
No, I don't have the book. I Googled his name, and that's the first thing that came up.
Hey, N.A., I'd like to see this book because I bet you Depp's in this book. He's got to be.
Why would it be in a Michael Bergen book, do you think?
Can I tell you my favorite Michael Bergen story briefly?
No. Was that the soap opera actor you were talking about?
Yeah. No, it's he's
Okay.
like a model, and so this is who Kate Moss did this ad with him, which we probably could have found. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. Shout out to Scott Balow for using Luciferianism. Good God. If you don't learn something on this, Depp, I know, I'm looking at it, and I got it highlighted. Is it Lucifer, or is it some other derivative? Good God. So I'm gonna mine through that Michael Bergen piece, and maybe I'll narrate it again. I guarantee that if he's the other man, obviously this is what he's talking about.
Well, he's talking about JFK Jr. and Carol and Bissett. So I don't know if he's going to get into the whole Depp thing, but we'll see. I know you can read it.
Who's got a better legacy, JFK Jr. or Depp? Who's
I'm
the
sure
better
there's
pilot?
lots of Michael Bergen topless photos in the book for you to enjoy.
I think I'm going to shave my chest to just to read it.
Oil your chest after you shave. Rub the oil in
black and white, shave my chest.
Oh my God. All right, here we go.
They did some ads together, and they really clicked. They're just about nude. In fact, these pictures are so hot, a lot of magazines turned them down. Someone brought in an issue with one of the pictures into the Viper Room, and Johnny flipped out, ripped it to shreds, and said he never wants to see Michael Bergen in his club ever again. Yet another display of temper occurred in the $1,200 a night presidential suite of the Mark Hotel in New York. This was on September 13th of their first year together. Depp was first annoyed he couldn't find a room in his preferred hotel, the Carlisle. Then he took exception to the attitude of the night security, Jim Keegan. The guy was a little froggy, and he decided he was going to get in the famous guy's face. And Mr. Depp didn't take too well to that. In the next suite to the Moss Depps was Roger Daltrey of The Who. Daltrey was ill and became annoyed at what became crashing throughout the night, but oddly, no arguments or shouting. It seemed like destruction was going on. Though Daltrey, of course, was a member of the band that became rich and famous for wild antics, and whose drummer Keith Moon turned trashing hotel rooms into a fine art. But that was a long time ago. Daltrey called the desk to complain. The security guard Keegan went to investigate. An altercation then began between Depp and Keegan. In Depp's account, the guy probably had too many cups of coffee that night, and he was particularly feisty and decided to call the shots in a way that Depp didn't think was particularly necessary. Keegan assessed the damage to the hotel suite. According to a news report, the damage amounted to 2 broken 17th century frames and paintings, a china lamp stand, a Chinese pot, a glass tabletop, the legs of a coffee table, a vase, and some shelves. Depp also left cigarette burn marks on the carpet and a red desk chair. Not so wicked, as Daltrey later wryly commented, the Who would have done a much better job in a fraction of the time. Depp then offered to pay, but Keegan was having none of this. He demanded Depp immediately check out. Depp didn't see it that way, so Keegan threatened to now call the cops. Depp still refused to leave, and 30 minutes later, 3 officers from the 19th precinct had now turned up. They arrested the movie star and, to the joy of the paparazzi, led him out of the hotel in handcuffs. Kate then left the suite and stayed the night with Naomi Campbell. For the following 48 hours, Depp was detained at Precinct House in Central Booking in what they call the Tombs behind the police HQ. He was then obliged to pay what his lawyers considered a preposterous amount. The incident did him absolutely no harm, though. John Waters commented laconically that the hotel room thing didn't hurt his career. He looked good under arrest. I love the handcuffs. They always work. Criminal movie star is a really good look for Johnny. The hotel thing did not hurt his career. He looks so good under arrest. I love the handcuffs. They always work. Criminal movie star is a really good look for Johnny.
I couldn't help but I couldn't.
Depp himself.
Sarah, can you pause for a minute?
I did, yeah.
I couldn't help it with John Waters. I'm sorry.
No, you did a very good John Harper, sir.
It's just good. I'm looking at it. I'm going, I guess I should try to sound okay. So,
That's the way to distinguish him.
yeah. So the story with the hotel, a lot of people know that. So he was promoting Wood in New York when he did it. And I don't know, Burton's people decided it was worth putting him in this Mark Hotel for a movie that I'm responsible for half the box office. The story on this thing has changed so many times over the years. It went from, do you remember, Sarah? He was making up, so I was running around this hotel room and this huge aardvark was chasing me around the room, and I was, trying to whack it, and this thing looked at the size of a baseball, and I threw it. So he's just making up this fantastical stuff. Then it became they had a little argument, and they're screaming at each other. Then it became what it is now, and this is like from, I think, a year or two. No, it's from the UK transcript we read. So this comes out now that it's, in fact, he got screwed over by a friend. Again, it's always him getting exploited money-wise. Somebody, he didn't even say money, right, Sarah? It was just like, some friend screwed me over. I just found that out, and I went crazy in this room. The story's changed at least 3 times.
Yeah, but somehow she's asleep in the bedroom during the entire thing.
And she's asleep during it. Yes. A dachshund. What was the other thing I wanted to say about this? So he gets carted off into the Tombs, and I don't know if anybody knows. Apparently, the Tombs is like an old New York prison, and it's in the lower side. I want to say, I had a friend, a basketball official I worked with, big black guy, really, really cool dude. He sounds like Bernie Mac when he speaks, and he was a prison guard there for years and years and years. I mean, does this guy have stories? And his name is House. This is his nickname. And this place is, I believe it's off Chinatown, almost by where kind of where Epstein is.
Okay.
So it's in that sort of lower part of Manhattan. And I'd been in Manhattan a zillion times, and I just don't remember connecting it to anything at the time. But it's his famous jail, and I didn't even realize that that's where he was. And apparently Marlon Brando, as the story goes, called the jail to try to bail him out, and all these people were kind of working on him. And I don't think he spent more than a day or two, if that.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that long. But did you go? Would you have gone up to the building had you known, and just touched the building, the side of the building?
Totally. I considered going into. I was on Long Island. I considered going into the city to check it all out, see if I could infiltrate it. I really did.
Should have put.
And he was out.
Should have put the video in.
There was. I remember, locally, because if you were in New York, you had an advantage to the footage of this. So on my local Fox, which ironically started the network, they had tons of footage of him waltzing in and out of the jail in that garb with the fucking the Viper Room ski cap, the green and yellow kind of supersonic Oakland A's ski cap, and I remember getting pissed at him because he was wearing a bomber jacket, and it was like 95 degrees. I just come back from like a long run. I'm like, you motherfucker, do you have a metabolism? How are you wearing a bomber jacket? Like in New York, it's like 10 degrees hotter. And I remember going, I get so annoyed at people who don't get annoyed by it being hot. And I just
were you trying to sync up mentally with him through the television and get him to remove the jacket?
But I had the whole thing on VHS. I had like 45 minutes of footage on it on VHS. And
that was a big, even in the hills of Oregon, that was a big story at the time.
Oh, you knew about it up here?
Yes, we get the news here. So New York is not the only state with television.
I just thought it was like too localized, and he was in a weird part of his career because it was like he's promoting Ed Wood, and like I said, I'm responsible for half the box office, so it's like, his star power was strange at that time. That's why I'm so freaked out that he could afford helicopters and renting islands. It doesn't make sense what his asking price was at the time. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, that was news, and it was on cover of magazines. Of course, we have those here too. But anywhere you went at that time, you saw that image of him being let out in handcuffs.
Yeah, well, we had the extended, because of the local stuff. There's all those local news, whether it was WPIX or the local Fox, and we had a ton of stuff on it. And I had it all on VHS, and I just, God damn, I wish I could get that back.
Yeah, somewhere the extended footage of that is still there to be found. So I would like to see it someday.
they throw a mic in his face, and he's like, no, there's a lot of nice people here I met. On his way out of the jail, I think, there's a lot of nice people here I met. And then one of the arresting, I think it was her name, I don't know how I remember this shit, Officer Perez, she goes, yeah, he asked me, he's like, if you saw me in the mall, you'd ask for an autograph. She's like, nah, you don't know me very well. I don't care about celebrities. I'm not asking you for anything. That's what she said in the interview.
Let's get this going. I'm trying to wait till it plays to put up chat because the chat is covered with the play bar on my screen, so I can't read it.
Later made light of the incident. He denied it had been some sort of set in between him and Kate. It had absolutely nothing to do with Kate, he claims. You want to hear the honest truth? What happened in that hotel, there was a cockroach in that room the size of a baseball. And I was chasing it, and I missed it. And, the thing, it tried to attack me and tried to suck my blood, big cockroach. And then I tried to get it. I tried to whack it, and I'd miss. And then I'd sort of smash the lamp. The incident had another surreal coda. On recovering his belongings from the hotel, Depp discovered that while he'd been under arrest, someone had annotated in the autobiography of Marlon Brando. He'd been reading that. Its pages were scrawled with remarks like, "Fuck you, Johnny Depp, you're an asshole, and I hate you." No one claimed that Kate was the culprit, so it may have been the hotel staff, in fact. The Kate and Johnny saga continued. They were made for news values, apparently, for each other as well. Playboy pronounced that Depp and his latest love, Uber model Kate Moss, are the prom king and queen of young Hollywood. Beautiful, thin chain smokers with an air of sex and tragedy. The association certainly put Kate in the limelight. Just at that point, people were tiring of waifs and stick-like mannequins. Her career may have faltered in the fickle ambiance of fashion. She might have retired in the UK with just her scrapbook of consolation. Several models who enjoyed a brief success in the waif boom were eclipsed as trends changed. Kate says, yeah, my life hangs from these cheekbones.
No.
There are parallels in how celebrity works and how money works. Both celebrity and money are formless and yet endlessly mutable, phantasmagoric substances that create worlds of spectral objectivity. They both originate in magical belief and their extraordinary power.
That's like a Depp-wive username
I don't remember
on Twitter.
reading that. Those words are crazy stringing together this guy. I don't even remember reading all that.
You blank.
Phantasmagorical. Who the fuck would say that?
Well, that is the username I'm aware of on Twitter. But
oh, that's a real name. Oh God,
yeah.
help me.
Of course, she's a
Let
Depp
me
woman.
say one word about the hotel stuff. Like, who amongst us? I'm not sure we love Depp, and he's got a lot of. He's very, he's self-deprecating. He's got a weird self-esteem, but at the same time, he has a weird entitlement because would it ever occur to you, anybody, to just start going nuts in a hotel room like that you didn't own? If you were at somebody else's house, even if you were just like, Airbnb or something like that, would it ever occur to you to start breaking shit because a friend screwed you somewhere else? Isn't it a strange entitlement, though, that he has in a way?
He doesn't know how to
even enters your mind to do that.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, you don't. It never like this isn't mine. I'm gonna destroy this place just because I can, and I have the money to pay for it, and I have no. It's a weird dichotomy the way his brain works like that.
Absolutely, it goes back to the mother abusing him and him going back out to the tree with the baseball bat and beating the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think we'll find out when his book comes out that was the Emancipation Day.
Yeah, I can't
what
wait.
we heard about. It's a very sad story. I mean, the way he told it on the trial, it's a very sad story. Any kid that has to go through that is like saying, "You are a piece of shit. You were never born."
Yeah.
To reproduce and migrate across culture comes from super objective quality. They are beyond everything, yet inside everything. The stock exchange and hit parade both float on fetishes of reputation and of number, as the sociologist Simon Smelt put it. Number is money's personality. Number is money's personality. I think I like that. In the same way, the essence of any celebrity is anything intrinsic to the person who bears that name. The magic is in the numbers of hits, of clicks, of number ones, of top tens, the millions of fans or money that accrue to that personality.
I actually think,
To
Sarah,
get where she eventually got in
the writer of the book does a great job right there. It's a little pretentious and hyperbolic, but he does a great job of saying what America is obsessed with: fame and money and why. And I thought he really did a nice job there. It hit me like, yeah, we are way too into this shit. We're doing it now.
Of course.
Reputation and number stakes, Kate Moss needed that extra and timely boost, borrowed the charisma. She borrowed much of that charisma from Johnny Depp's own reputation. At first, she didn't realize how potent this Hollywood magic was. The first time I went to Johnny's house in L.A. is when I suddenly realized what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize when we were in New York. I knew he was famous, but I didn't really know what that entailed. That was the kernel that created the spectral of super objectivity of Kate Moss today. It enabled the model industry to carry on beyond any model's norm, a sell-by date, and without any crossover whatsoever. Not even a perfume, not even a line of tights. Note, too, that in guest appearances in pop videos and movie bit parts, she acts as herself. That is only the talent and the value she has now. But it is considerable value, and partly accrues from another talent, which picking useful lovers. By January 16th, 1995, Kate's 21st birthday, Kate said to Johnny, "We're just going to go out to dinner now." He's like, "Put a dress on." So I had the satin dress down to the floor, and he got the scissors out now. And he's like cutting my dress up to the knee, literally, while we're walking out this door. I'm wearing like red satin up to the knee, and it's all jagged. But they didn't go to dinner. Linda Moss takes up the story. Johnny's secretary, Jess, rang me to say he'd just gotten a ticket to fly over and to ask if there were any other special friends he could fly over for her, too. I did think of some old school friends, but none of them could go because of work and babies or other commitments. Even Kate's brother, Nick, couldn't make it in the end because he had a model booking. The night I was leaving for Los Angeles, Kate rang me and said that nothing seemed to be happening on her birthday. When I told her I'd posted her birthday card and hoped it had gotten there on the time, she sounded really disappointed that it might not, and I left to catch the plane. Johnny booked me into an out-of-the-way hotel in Los Angeles, and Kate said he was taking her to a lovely restaurant for her birthday, and he said he just had to pop into his club on business. But when Kate walked in with him, and her model friends were all there, Naomi Campbell, Helena Christensen, Elle McPherson, one of her friends, the hairdresser, James Brown, popped out of a huge paper cake, and we all sang Happy Birthday. Aretha Franklin, Thelma Houston, another artist, entertained us all evening. It was a great night, laughing and dancing and talking to everyone. I do wish Kate hadn't told everyone Johnny hid the diamond necklace he gave her in his underpants. I was so embarrassed, but it was true. Kate herself recalled they opened the curtains, and there was my mum. My dad and everyone had flown in from London and New York, and John Galliano had come in from Paris. It was amazing. Like I was shaking, you know, when you start to dance and your legs don't work anymore. I had to go into his office for 10 minutes till I'd calmed down. During the evening and into the early morning, several major artists performed. Gloria Gaynor came in and sang I Will Survive. An Elvis lookalike sang along with Thelma Houston, and Johnny strummed on stage with the in-excess singer, Michael Hutchence. These celebrations were almost upstage when one of the guests, ex-Neighbors soap star, pop idol Jason Donovan collapses in the early hours. A guest reported one moment he was the life and soul of the party. The next, he slumped to the floor, completely out of it. Kate, Johnny, and the other guests looked on as Jason, clearly in the difficulties, was stretched out of the club by a medical team. The star had a coat thrown over his face to prevent him from being identified. He was nevertheless recognized through his scruffy jumper and pink jeans. Donovan was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where 2 years earlier, River Phoenix had been pronounced dead on arrival. Doctors diagnosed a seizure, but no other details were forthcoming. Donovan claimed it was all down to asthma. But as reported in The Observer, when he collapsed, Donovan had been snorting cocaine. A report in The Sun went further. The Australian heartthrob admitted he had taken 2 lines of cocaine.
Sarah,
Kate trying to impress.
Okay. So we all harken back to River Phoenix and our Viper Room document. Sarah, how eerily similar is that to the River Phoenix stuff?
Almost identical.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so Depp tries to remove himself from this stuff. And as the story goes, Sarah, I'll let you take it. How does River Phoenix pass away?
Speedball.
From?
John Frusciante.
Yes. From the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Correct.
And it's been corroborated by a few people as this went down, as River Phoenix gets rushed to the hospital, Depp's team and these people had a meeting at his house as to how to handle this. This is the rumor of how they went down with this, because it's all going to be traced back to the Viper Room and the crazy drug culture that was clearly part of that. And who are we kidding, right? I mean, the dude from Celebrity Rehab, I forget his name, that he looks like Depp. In fact, he's wearing like a douche derby and he's got the smart guy glasses on and the fake glasses, and he's got the same. So I forget the guy's name, and he's in a band. And so he kind of goes into that the Viper Room is very, very culpable, and he thinks part of River Phoenix's death. And I think Phoenix had passed out into his arms, and he was the guy who brought him to the curb. And then obviously Joaquin is the one caught on, talking to the EMT, the 911, the operator, right? So it's a crazy, 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 eerily similar story. And I got kind of chills reading it because it is so similar. Thank you, David. Daniel Steele.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know that? Do you know that actor he's talking about? So it's an Australian soap opera actor. Does anybody know who that guy is? Jason Donovan?
I don't know him.
And this is like Depp's having surprise parties at the Viper. The Viper was just his little playhouse. Like, more than anything, it's just, hey, let's have no customers tonight. It's always someone's birthday. It's always some, Hunter S. Thompson reading. It seems like at least, or if David's playing there, it's the only night it's not. And so it's almost like, more than half the time, it's just like Depp just uses it as a little club playhouse.
Yeah, of course. That's kind of what he said when he did that interview we played on the Viper Room Part 2. He wanted to play. Right. He wanted his friends to meet up somewhere. He wanted to play his kind of music that his friends liked. So yeah, that's absolutely what it was.
That was the intention, and that it was going to be. But then it turned into a celebrity circle jerk immediately. Yeah, of course. As much as he tried to, stave that off.
What comes with celebrities in the 90s? You've got a guaranteed drug dealer, probably following very close behind back then.
He does very well with that clientele.
Yeah, absolutely.
A. Smith.
On Johnny, just what she did for a living. I said to him, have you ever seen or been to a fashion show? I told him about John Galliano because he's such a good friend of mine and he's so genius and you should come. And I told him I wouldn't ask him to go on any other show. The other boyfriends go, Naomi's and Linda's and Christie's and Helena's. Eventually, Johnny got the point. When I did the Ozzie Mizrahi show in L.A., Johnny was there. And it was the first time he'd ever seen a show. I was like, please, don't come now. The show itself was the most fantastic thing I've ever done because it was this fantastic, fabulous, da-da. It was fun. But it was just knowing he was there is what really I cared about. And all I ever thought about my job. As a reward, she gave him a ring-shaped rattle made of platinum and filled with black pearls. In return, he gave her a string of diamonds. Whenever Johnny thought about Kate's job, he also thought she should improve her mind. He introduced her to Iggy Pop and the maverick writer Hunter S. Thompson. Asked what she was reading by a reporter, she confided Jack Carey. Jack Carey, Jack Kerouac. She was now prompted. Yeah, that's it. Johnny recommended it. I love to settle down on planes with my book. A friend remarked, Kate says she always feels like she's learning something when she's with Johnny, impulsively. He might insist they fly 1,000 miles to hear a band, or they would spend an evening drinking and talking poetry. They also went in for less intellectual pursuits, like trampolining or riding magic roller coasters at California's Magic Mountain. Johnny says, I love going there with Kate. We're going all the fastest rides, and it's great. We both scream our heads off. Meanwhile, she put on weight. Being happy seemed to make her hungry. By June of 1994, the papers were reporting she'd hit 9 stone. Stories circulated of her pigging out now on Big Macs and chips and chocolate milkshakes. At the end of the foreword to her eponymous book, Kate, which she put out the next year, she wrote, P.S. I am just on the way out to dinner now to eat a massive steak and loads of very fattening potatoes with loads of butter. Kate's book was also put out reluctantly. She wondered what a 20-year-old was doing publishing a retrospective of her work anyway. But then again, why not? She and Johnny had supported Naomi Campbell's novel, Swan, by appearing at the launch party in London. Tramp Club books. Okay, Johnny reads a lot of them. The Observer of Campbell's books mentioned that while a turkey is large and can't fly, more of a goose, failing to lay a golden egg, was some of the reviews. Swan eventually sank, and though not quite in 2005, the New York Fringe Theater Group created a reading aloud from the worst books ever, and that was Swan, featured lit light events.
Sorry,
an interview by.
Mm-hmm.
So you broads in the chat, and this obviously for you, Sarah, too. Your boyfriend, fiance, at the time says to you, hey, I think you could use an IQ boost. Here are the books that I read. Why don't you sharpen up a little bit? If somebody hands you, basically says you're illiterate and starts to force you to read their how do you take that? Is there a way to pitch that to someone?
No, that is for me, that is a soul-crushing insult. I don't think that I could recover from.
But isn't that what they're implying he basically did to her? Like,
yeah,
you're just not illiterate. Here, read my stuff. Just because you read the classics, and there's nothing wrong, there's obviously some great pioneers and these brilliant writers, it's irrefutable. This just doesn't mean you can't read other stuff. Mm-hmm. I've seen magazine articles that are better written than classic books that we worship sometimes. I've learned more from that. So just but he has to foist his, isn't it a bit patronizing? I mean, at the very least,
that's exactly what it is. Not just a bit. That's all that is. Again, I don't think I could recover from that and go any further.
But she's as somebody in the chat, I forget who it was. It could have been Maury Boy. It could have been. At that point, was she a bigger model than he was an actor at that point?
I think so. I saw a comment earlier that I kind of agree with. When they were together at the time, worldwide, yeah, absolutely, she was probably more famous.
Internationally, right.
You got to remember if you're old like me, you got to remember how popular she was as a model. That heroin chic Calvin Klein.
Oh God, I know.
Campaign.
She had the Marky Mark one initially, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I remember seeing that thing, and I remember saying to myself, and I knew she was British. She might have been just with Depp, and I remember thinking, I wonder how a British girl thinks of a wigger. How that accent comes at her, and she's like, what is it? Does this guy think he's black? I don't know. I just wondered if British girls had ever been exposed to a wigger before, and how they would hear that coming back at them.
Yeah. His Marky Mark's, I still call him that because he hates it. Marky Mark's third nipple, and yes, he has one, is the least offensive thing about him.
Well, how about the blinding the Korean guy? He's he should be. He could have been.
He should be in prison.
He took a dude's eye out, right? The Korean dude in Wilding, and he went to jail, and it was like a slap on the wrist. And then he had a Wilding incident with black people in that Southie area with a bunch of his racist. I don't know. It was like in a gang of some kind. Crazy shit. I mean, I would have went to jail for 20 years if I did that.
Of course. How old was he at the time? Was he a juvenile?
Late teens. I think he was legal.
The whole juvenile corrections thing is ridiculous in this country.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Jane Mois described Kate wearing understand grown-up clothes and a black Prada sleeveless dress because I just like their new collection. Her shapely little leggies are thrust into pastel slingbacks where clipper clopper over the
He's the
marble
worst
floor.
actor too. He's the worst.
What can she continue?
There was a gaffe here. Like I remember skipping it.
Now in New York, the
I'm
book
not gonna do it
launch
all.
at James Danziger Gallery in Soho was more stylish. Kate and Johnny now arrive fashionably 2 hours late. Kate, in a second-hand black gown and delicate high-heeled sandals that showed off her very grown-up red toenails as she moved from one room to the next with guests trailing her so closely that they seemed to be part of her outfit. Depp, with biker sunglasses wrapped around his neck, avoided the fashionista and conspired with Iggy Pop now. Eventually, he went into a back office and emerged with brandishing a poster that Pop had drawn, opposing the current bout of French nuclear testing. Kate applauded and shouted, "Don't buy French! Don't buy French!"
Quite McCarthy.
And
I
then
didn't know that.
realizing
Freedom
she
fries.
was holding a glass of champagne, caught herself. Oh dear, I'm drinking.
Sorry.
Pella, no, they're giving me more intel. I forgot about all this stuff.
Yeah,
Marky
he
Mark's
was
a
everything.
fascinating road to go down if you get a chance before you start. He's the worst actor too, by the way. He's almost like I can't take him seriously in anything.
He's the worst actor I've ever seen.
My cousin one time we were watching something. We watched a movie together, and a preview for a movie I've never seen. You ever see when someone like they huff so bad and the eye roll is so that they don't have to speak? He shrunk down. I can't remember. I think it was that Four Brothers movie or something. And it was a trailer we were watching. He just went like, and then slumped in his seat. And the eye roll, and it's the dark movie theater, and I could see, talking about eyeballs and teeth, and I could see his eyes just hit the ceiling. I've never seen someone look more repulsed on visual watching Marky Mark act. It was
his go-to
I'll never
acting.
forget that look.
He raised his voice goes high pitch, and he flares his nostrils.
That Andy Samberg impression's the best.
That's
say hi to your mother for me. Say hi to your mother for me.
Oh,
that's
a good impersonation.
Andy Samberg thing is great. I'm imitating Andy Samberg.
Oh my god, yeah, he's awful, horrible. And yes, I did own the CD Marky Mark and the Funky.
So he's a car thief too, and David C. writes, you get those wiggers are all hip hop. They're safe. Take home the daddy. You're sure.
Yeah,
because he gets all the props and none of the bullshit. That's so well said.
He's the reason I don't like the Boston Celtics.
His brother seems like a nice guy, Donnie. Apparently, he bailed him out all that shit and got him. That's how I was able to clean up.
He was my second worst. The second worst one in New Kids on the Block.
Remember the Dennis Miller joke? Dennis Miller goes, he goes, don't you love that kid from the New Kids who pulls up on the Harley?
Yeah,
let you know he's a motorcycle guy in a moped band. Now he may sing do 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 do, but he doesn't mean it. And that was about it. I was at Donnie Wahlberg at the time.
I'm gonna skip ahead and put this comment up. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can because the play bar's in the way. Yeah, David C. Remember when Donnie went full street with the New Kids? Yes, that was in the step-by-step video. And then it really got bad when they did the remix album after Step by Step. There's like a No More Games video they did. He is full on thug. He's got a blue handkerchief covering half of his eyes. Like he's a full on.
He's got a weird like rat tail too, like a mullet kind of rat tail.
That was
thing.
Danny. He probably had one too. It's just gross. And of course, my skanky cousins, Donnie was their favorite.
Step by step, ooh, Sarah, gotta get to your girl.
I had every album. I know that. I even had the album their bodyguard Biscuit put out. A big.
Wow, you're a fan, huh? Jesus.
I was so. I didn't
know what I was getting myself into with that.
I saw them live. I was pitiful. I was like 11, so that's my excuse. Okay, let's get back to this.
Champagne, and all champagne is in fact French, isn't it? Then, well, it's only a gallery opening, so maybe it isn't. Depp's occasional flamboyance and mood swings could upset his lover. His volatility was also sometimes self-destructive. From childhood, he'd been engaged in dares and madcap sensation-seeking. Once he'd blown a mouthful of gasoline onto a fire. His face exploded in flames, and only intervention of a friend saved him from a serious burn. And his arms are multi-scarred with self-inflicted knife wounds, which he says commemorate important events in his life. You know, I have a funny relationship with my body. It sounds so stupid, but for me, there shouldn't be any halfway. As far as possible, Kate and Johnny tried to keep their love life private. They rarely discussed their relationship, and when they did, they were vague or blandly effusive. Asked about their early rumors of an impending marriage, Depp replied, Kate, as a wife, I would not be against it, but something it just needs to be discussed in private. Quizzed by another reporter, Depp responded, my relationship with my girl isn't something I'm going to discuss with anybody, especially a guy with a tape recorder. So whether Kate and me are together or not is not going to save anyone's life. It's nobody's business but mine or hers. You know, I'd rather come out in the press and say I'm screwing dogs or goats or rats or whatever. So just write anything you want, because I ain't telling you. Kate marveled. He's really wild, but wild in a nice way, and I don't want to tame him ever. He's complicated, but I like that. There has to be some kind of mystery. He's always surprising me. Johnny's a complete and utter romantic. The actress Faye Dunaway concurs. He's incorruptible. He's always believed in his pure way about love.
Sarah.
He's got this kind of old-fashioned value.
What?
I took Sunflower Dragon's post the wrong way. I looked quick and I thought she meant, I want a new kid in the sheets, not I had new kid sheets. I thought she meant, I want a new kid in the sheets.
I had those too. I had the curtains, the matching curtains as well.
She wants an antioxidant in the sheets. I have my God.
The money my parents spent on that fucking band. I'm so
sorry.
Really?
Look
I
at
was
you.
10 or I was like 11. I wasn't making any
crazy
money.
With the I don't know, the eclectic nature of how do you go from Nirvana
puberty happened
and the entire grunge scene from
puberty
that to
and
that,
common sense hit.
Man, if Kurt Cobain knew that, Jesus
he
Christ.
knows. I told him before he died. That's probably what led him to it.
It's kind of like Depp's, right? He has the kind of Adderall blow speak, and then you have, please hit the like button and sit back, and then we have the audio of him speed talking, and it's like not the same guy. It's so crazy, and I've always suspected that it is an affect and it's a put on, that he can speak much faster than that, and he was directed to waste a lot of time during the trial to take the walk and pauses between the words. If you hear a lot of his audio, it's a different guy. It's crazy. It's the same guy.
But speaking of that, breaking news, kind of, sort of, and it's not confirmed, but that's the reports are that they are recalling him. Monday.
So that's yep.
They only have 8 hours left, including for the rebuttal, to cross-examine the rebuttal witnesses. If he our plan, me and Johnny, if he can get up on the stand and just do uber slow talk, he can run through their 8 hours. So they can't even cross-examine any of the rebuttal witnesses end of the week. All right.
It's like Cleveland Browns running Nick Chubb in the fourth quarter, right?
That's Pittsburgh, why they have two first-string running backs. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb.
And what happened to Dearness Johnson?
He's third.
Oh, so he's still. God damn, that's. Why can't we have one in Pittsburgh? Can we have Dearness Johnson?
Fuck Pittsburgh. My quarterback might be getting suspended, so F off. Jacoby Brissett might be my first quarterback. Okay, sorry, everybody.
All right, Trey Wingo, let's go.
And it's instinctive with him. This isn't something he's worked on in his head. And I love that he believes in love. Getting philosophical on the topic, Johnny mused, I think the beauty and poetry you should get in a relationship between a man and a woman has always been missing for a long time. We lost a lot of the romanticism, and that was always from the 30s and the 40s. And like the surrealist Andrew Breton, he compared this woman to the city of Paris. I'm fascinated by the city. Every time I finish a movie, I go to escape there. There's something in the air that's magical and an appreciation for art and artists. And I also have the same affinity for Kate. He affectionately described Kate as the closest thing a human being can be to a cat. She likes ABBA and Big Macs, and she can make him laugh like no one else can. When she walks into a room and he sees her face, she's like an angel. She's so beautiful, it amazes him. He also admired her high water booty, as it were. Putting aside his jealousy, accepted she might be admired by other men, albeit at a distance. If you can offer someone a little escape by simply looking at your picture, it would be silly to object. However, an attentive media began to see cracks in them, especially in the time the couple increasingly spent time apart. Always. The excuse was work, schedules, conflicting international commitments. And these excuses were invariably Depp's. Kate complained about his absences, with her stuck in L.A. or New York when life got so boring. And Johnny would just say, well, we'll go shopping then.
Sorry, can you pause for a
But
minute?
maybe Depp...
So welcome, Lauren Marie. You always valued your contributions here. Go back and listen. You might have missed a little bit. You'll like. You're hearing now some of the kind of jealous rages and abuse, and it so lines up with any kind of little kind of pokes they take at him to try to find cracks in their system with Chu and Camille. And anytime the succubus had people testifying, they go back to there's a jealousy theme all the time happening. And they're on speaking of football, they are on the 17th hole of their in golf and football. Golf's probably better here. The 17th hole of their relationship, probably right about here.
Yeah. Well, I am very jealous as well in a relationship, and so him and I would be perfect for each other.
He's also telling her what to wear, what to read. So he's shaping her in electronic. Well, this is the third time he's told her what to wear.
Yeah,
and he's telling her that she's not intellectual enough, and he needs to. So that a feisty broad is going to feel patronized too. They're not going to take that well, especially a model who her whole gig is telling you what to wear. Ironically,
exactly. Yep.
Too was getting bored. Depp, after all, is a self-made intellectual, curious and adventurous. He's a man who devours books, a devotee of the arts and patron of artists, like the gritty hyper-realist Robert Gunan. Fanatical about his acting, the only actor who ever asked director Lasse Hallström how to say his own name,
Gilbert Grape,
and how to say I have a rat down my throat in Swedish. He prepares for parts with diligence and relish, preparing to play the part of a drug-addicted reporter in Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Depp, ever the method actor, insisted on living for 4 months with the author, a highly strung practitioner of drugs and guns and high explosives. Depp later recalled, it was fine until I discovered a keg of gunpowder, and I decided to see guns and high explosives, and then at that point, I decided to stop smoking. Depp once brought Kate's mother to Thompson's compound-like estate. She just thought Hunter was some kind of madman and horribly dangerous, and we should escape as soon as possible. Depp came from a culturally complex background. He was part Cherokee, but the uncle that nurtured his musical talent was a fundamentalist, a Christian preacher. Though he rebelled at school, Depp was an inquisitive child. At 8, he was a fan of the daredevil stuntman Evel Knievel, reading up on the history of the world in World War II. Depp was also a skilled and sophisticated musician who could hold his own with the best. Kate's own background was hardly exotic. British suburbia spiced with naughtiness, and her love affair with the local Yabari Blue, the cultural capital of her middle-classness. Nor was her family home electric with cultural contradictions or stuffed with books. Her brother Nick confessed, I don't read books. My bedroom was full of magazines, The Face, Vogue. I'm obsessed with them, and I think I've only read 2 books in my entire life. Steaming In, written by Football Hooligan, and Mice of Men, and that was an English lesson. Kate generally resists ideas unless absorbed into some kind of role when they have a secondary of without purpose. Deprived in her adolescence in many respects, she's clung to the endearingly daft chatterbox persona she had as a teenager. In many ways, she really never grew up, and she never had to. While her own mother, Linda, is an equal sort of Peter Pan-like, Kate also had the security of that and a more practical mother, Sarah Dukas, to the take-care-of-business type approach. There was also Peter Moss, a stalwart father, to keep an eye on the finances, and unlike Depp, Kate never had any real reverses in her career. Apart from the uncertain start, everything from Corrine Day on flowed and clicked like it was meant to be, nor did she ever really test herself, though she aspired to singing and acting. She never really went much further with those dreams. Johnny worried about Kate's immaturity. He called her both his addiction and his little girl. Of course, as the French saying has it, people have vices of their virtues, and it was partly that uninformed and spontaneous naivete in Kate that attracted the more jaded Depp. A friend commented, Kate seems like she's looking at everything with fresh eyes. She's always enthusiastic and gets excited very easily. The simplest things like going out for ice cream or going shopping at the drugstore with Depp. She treats everything as an adventure with Johnny, and he loves that. He says that she has a...
What is Gina Bobina asking me here? This is a hard-hitting question. John, are you internally narrating your life in that accent afterwards? So you're saying I'm so pompous that I'm driving around doing a play-by-play of my own life with that accent?
Yes.
Yeah. It was so traumatizing, Gina. I had to drop the character and just cleanse myself for the next 5 hours because I couldn't. That's really funny. That's such a funny question. That's such a deep question. Deep Bobina.
I'll wait till... Okay. Sorry.
Where are we here with the... I just want to go. So, Sunflower Dragon writes, I think Johnny's still romantic. Imagine a castle in England sharing glasses of wine. But some broads would take it as this kind of... He's a southern gentleman, so he's very protective of... I mean, we hear this with... He doesn't want... he's trying for them to be not objectified, and he, in his mind... What she does really is anti-art in a way, right? It's the opposite of artistic modeling. It's mindless. It's your looks, and that's going to fade. So he's trying to prepare her for what's next, I guess, artistically. She's trying to mold her into, a female version of him, even though she's about 11 years younger. I think she's 11 years younger. He's, yeah. At least a decade. At that point, right. So she was 21. And he's 10 or 11 years older. So he's trying to kind of concoct this female version of himself in a way.
Yeah. He attempted, and look how that turned out.
I'm just going to say yes.
What?
No, I was going to say, just say yes, Arm. That's what you're doing. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Johnny's complicated. Nobody's perfect. No, David C., we're all complicated. I know. We don't have to tell you we're complicated. We hope you don't.
Yeah.
Spoilt and original spirit. She has this childlike thing about her, this British charm that he falls for every single time. But another friend added, I've seen Kate in tears over Johnny. And on Cloud 9, constantly mooning over some photograph of them together. They never do anything normal. They spend weeks moving from one hotel to another, going to clubs and parties at night, and sleeping all day. And whenever they split, it's because she says she can't put up with the weirdness anymore. But that's what attracts her to him in the first place. She's basically quite normal, but she loves people who are weird. She goes for so long, and then she just has to see him again. And it's the same thing with him. In other words, their relationship was an unreal as her life and his life and their life together. How could it be otherwise? Sometime later, looking back, Kate recalled, I was in love with him, and I haven't been in love with anyone since. It was an intense relationship for 4 years. And for a while, it seemed as if it wasn't even real. But it was, only it wasn't. Throughout 1996, the love now started to cool. Depp had once said of romantic attachments, if you're in a room, you can explore that place completely. You feel the texture of the walls and you can smell the room without smelling it. And you learn everything about it. Then it comes a time when you say, all right, I've learned it, so I have to go somewhere else and learn something else. Tally Chanel, a former girlfriend of Depp, warns. The truth about Johnny is that he asks almost every woman he goes out with to marry him. It's very quickly. He's been engaged now 5 times. He craves security, but he won't get it from Kate. Chanel added cattily, she's too young and she's too thin to have a child. Her hips couldn't even take it. She also added that Kate was not the influence Johnny needed in his life. Johnny needs an accomplice to end up in trouble. And it's obvious Kate has a lot to do with that recent behavior. Here, she put her finger on something that troubled some old observers, and later on, through Kate's Pete Doherty phase. Kate really loves being led along by a wild man. Or was she pretty wild herself? Meanwhile, Depp had other things on his mind, like work. He was frenetically busy during this period. In an interview, he wondered whether he'd been using his work as kind of a sedative. I was working constantly, or I was getting fucked up, trying to hide from whatever feelings or weirdness might have been inside me. I was trying to numb myself by getting loaded, or whatever. I was postponing the inevitable. That I'd have to wake up someday and stare at that guy in the fucking mirror. To her dismay, Kate found herself increasingly at a loose end, taking second place to Depp's demons and projects. Her own schedule of modeling also separated them, but unlike Depp's work, her work was not a mission. Asked why she continued to appear in one-way shows, she responded, the money, it's fun when you have all these models saying the same thing and staying at the same hotel, and adding it's just that the constant working and partying and traveling can now catch up with you. In June of 1996, Kate and Johnny holidayed in the Mustique with Oasis guitarist and songwriter Noel Gallagher and his wife Meg Matthews. But as the others frolicked on the beach, Johnny just kept working. He was putting the finishing touches to his own script, The Brave, a feature-length movie based on a novel by Gregory MacDonald, which he would soon star in and then direct.
All right, so this is just put a pin in that a little bit. So Depp, a lot of people, I'm guessing 90% of the people, maybe more, maybe I'm the only one who saw it. Depp directed and starred in a movie called The Brave. It never came out in the theaters. It took he agreed to have Marlon Brando star in it. A. Smith, for you, the original Captain Jenko, Frederick Forrest, is in this movie. They reunite during that. It's not a huge cast. And Depp plays an Indian at a reservation somewhere in the Midwest. I don't even know if they identify where in the Midwest, where he's supposed. It's a strange plot where he takes a snuff film role and he's agreed to be paid $50,000, and somehow this $50,000 is going to get his family out of poverty. I found this on, I think, when eBay first came out on DVD, and I think I have a new copy of it in digital if anybody wants to see it. And I want to say to T-Busy, how's it going, pal? Are you sobriety-wise? We all want an update. Please give us one if you can. I didn't want you threw me off a little bit when I saw you pop on. So welcome, T-Busy, and anyone else who came in. I think I said Laura Marie, right? Brian, John, everyone. We're caught up, I believe. Okay. He slapped his head, I believe. So you're off the wagon? On the wagon? I think it's drinking coach time.
3,000 a minute, please. T-Busy.
I told you that story, right? About so that Tally Chanel made a crack about how Depp has to be engaged to everybody really quickly. I told that story. I think I told you that story if everyone remembers. So during the Jennifer Grey one, Jennifer Grey and Madonna ended up being close because they had the same agent and some weird, Tracy Jacobs was in there. And so I remember reading an article on Depp in Us magazine, and there was a Madonna quote in the same magazine. And I think back there was a bumper sticker that said, "Honk if you haven't been engaged to Johnny Depp." Yep. And I couldn't quite play. I knew that he'd been married to Lori Ann Allison, who you heard his friend Bruce Witkin brought up as his sister-in-law. But I didn't realize all this. So a lot of these details have come out to today that bumper sticker was actually pretty prophetic and very funny.
I wish I had it. I would love to put that on my car.
Oh, day 3, D-Busy. Well, okay, good. Good for you. Day
Awesome.
3.
As I said in the chat.
If he goes, if you, I will put you on my red wine spritzer program, probably to start. It's Diet Mountain Dew and red wine over ice.
Oh my God. Okay.
Story of the brave is a long way from the celebrity lifestyle the famous four were enjoying. In Mystique, in Depp's words, it's about a guy and his wife and the kids, and they live an intense level of poverty out in the middle of nowhere. And this guy's given a choice to make a lot of money, or what he seems to him a lot of money, that could bring his family out of this soup bowl. And, he's given a choice of doing a snuff film in which he would be tortured and killed. The theme had resonance for Depp. It referenced his part Cherokee origins and made a social commitment statement about the plight of modern-day Indians. It also echoed his feeling that America had become a rapacious, irresponsible society, focused on winning at all costs. The movie accused the former President Andrew Jackson, whose face appeared on $20 bills, of genocide. Millions of American Indians had died through his influence. The quartet flew back to London together for the Sex Pistols' 1996 reunion concert in Finsbury Park Stadium. John Linden, a.k.a. John.
So let me just flex my Depp knowledge of that movie. So I remember watching that movie. Does anybody know who Max Perlich is? He's a character actor. He's like a little Lilliputian, half-pint character actor who is in Blow. He plays Dooley, Depp's friend in Blow. He's actually in an episode of 21 Jump Street, the season finale of season 2, which A. Smith watched, where he's blowing up toilet bowls and he plays like a skateboard kid. He's a friend of Depp's, and I think they must have hung out in L.A. And there's pictures of them with Cheryl and Finn in the mid, 1986, 87. In that movie, Max Perlich is in that movie in a cameo. He's zipping around that movie, and he wears a shirt called, on the shirt, it says, Born to Win. And I guess that's in line with what I just read. It just hits me now. It's, I guess, a commentary on America's obsession with competition and winning. And so this, if you get to watch the movie, Max Perlich is zipping around the movie, and he has a T-shirt on. It says Born to Win. And I didn't realize that was a comment on America's obsession with competition. I had no idea at the time.
Bye, David.
Okay, David. Thank you so much, sir, for all your brilliant contributions in general. I will see you soon. We'll see you at least Monday, hopefully.
Yeah, next week. You got to watch Depp testify again.
Johnny Rotten sneered from the stage, "We're fat, 40, and back." In December of 1996, it was reported that Depp had moved Moss now into the West Village apartment in New York. Was this a make or break time? The media speculated about an engagement, maybe marriage. Women management issued a tantalizing statement. The couple decided to get an apartment together in New York as a trial situation before they made it official. Made what official? A spokeswoman for Depp stated, "They're not engaged yet. He's still keeping his residence in L.A. Not engaged yet." Meanwhile, the Sunday Mirror told its readers that Kate had insisted on separate fridges, disapproving of Johnny's eating habits.
What?
In February of 1997, Depp confessed to Vanity Fair, "I'm amazed, and I'm doubly amazed at how great it still is. It's still fun. It's still very naive, even though we have all this history together now in this luggage, but it's still a good time. She makes him laugh, and you can't beat that South London accent. I'm amazed. I'm doubly amazed at how great it still is. It's still fun. It's still very naive. Even though we have all this history together and now this luggage, but it's still a good time. She makes me laugh. And man, you can't beat that South London accent." In May, Depp flew to Cannes for the premiere of The Brave. He had played the movie alongside his longtime hero and mentor, Marlon Brando. Marlon, God bless him, he didn't make a dime on this thing. that did it for nothing. You know, he's the pivotal role as well. He plays the man who I make a deal with. You know, he's the devil in a way. Kate also went to Cannes. It was noticed, however, they rented separate villas and never visited each other once. The movie was fairly well received at the first screening. However, as Depp related, you know, one of the producers premiered it at Cannes, and it was placed in the competition category. And I don't like the idea of competition with films, so I was frightened because, you know, all eyes are now on me. And I felt like a schmuck. You know, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people in what world I didn't want to be around in any world. That audience stood up for the film, and the next morning, all the trades cut the movie to shreds, and I was in misery. It was bizarre because, you know, the reviews were the exact opposite of the screening. The disappointment through him, and making it also had drained him. It was the most difficult thing I'd ever done, and I was an idiot to even attempt it. It's just way too much work for one person. You know, you get up for anybody, and you go to bed later and thinking about it, and everybody, and you're asleep, and then you're dreaming of it at the same time. The Brave also took a fatal toll on his relationship with Kate. They felt squeezed out. Depp was as obsessive as Sorrenti had once been, but not about her. Almost immediately, Depp plunged into the making of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Within a month, the press was reporting the couple had broken up. The Sun commented that Depp's previous move into Kate's apartment was supposed to be cement in that relationship, but instead the couple found out they'd also gotten on each other's nerves by that point. The breakup was cordial. Kate would continue to attend Johnny's premieres, and they would still see one another. By the early of July that year, Kate had been linked with a certain Tarka Cordell. Cordell was the son of 60s record producer Denny Cordell, and according to his friends, a consummate womanizer. He was also an occasional musician who owned celebrated record collections and beat up, but state-of-the-art pale blue Capri, the Times reported. He's tall, handsome, and rich, and named after an otter, confided. Looking back, Depp himself, you know, I've never gotten that emotional over a woman before, but I'd been stupid because we had so much going on and in that relationship. I'm the one who has to take responsibility for what happened. It was a difficult get, and difficult for me to get on with my life. I let my work get in the way, and I didn't have to give the attention that I should have given her. The whole thing was crazy because I should have just. I got so worked up over what people had to say about my own work, and you know, sure, I should care about my movies. You know, when I get home, I should try to leave that stuff behind because I couldn't do it. It was a horrific time, and I was horrific to live with. Trust me, I'm a total moron at sometimes. All very gallant, but we wonder, maybe they were, in the end, so much incompatible as unequal, and she unequal to him. He, principally through his work, was developing and changing. Kate's work, on the other hand, was static. For a model, this year's catwalks are much the same as last year's. It's all the same. Poses and grimaces and flurries are transposable. The club glass cabins all look the same. The champagne all tastes the same. Only the clothes change. She still seems satisfied with that. Depp wanted much more. He also hinted at another reason. He was tired of partying at that point and all that went with it. In fact, he really wanted to be a parent. He was broody. Why shouldn't a guy get broody? Some people imagine because of the movies I make or just the way they perceive me to be that he wouldn't make a great father. And apparently they don't know Mr. Depp at all. Maybe, in the end, Kate didn't know him all that well either. It was the filming in Paris for Roman Polanski's The Ninth Gate that Depp met Vanessa Paradis. Paradis, 2 years older than Kate, had that time fulfilled most of Kate's dreams. At the age of 14, a single of Joe Le Taxi had conquered the international charts. Paradis subsequently worked with svelte and sinister Serge Gainsbourg, and When she met Depp, she was already an accomplished and acclaimed actress and about to earn a César Award, the French equivalent of an Oscar, for her acting in the cult movie Noces Blanches. She was also a model, the face of Chanel and a muse of fashion photographers like Jean-Paul Gaudet and Jean-Baptiste Mondino. What's more, a coup de grace parody, who many say resembles Kate uncannily, had turned down Calvin Klein's offer to front the same obsession campaign that launched Kate and Moss. Even on that score, Kate was second best. A few months after they shared their first drink in the bar of Hotel Costas, Johnny and Vanessa were sharing a $7,000 a week apartment in Montmartre. A few months after that, Vanessa was pregnant with Johnny's child, and the news then devastated Kate.
Oh, well.
That's it, right?
Yep,
Is that the
removing it?
Okay.
That's it.
Remember the Oasis stage with Depp where he was constantly, I mean, you talk about serial dating. He would also like, he was with the band in a different way than Winona Ryder is. It's like the Lemonheads and Oasis and with the dude from Jesus Christ, the Butthole Surfers, Gibby Haynes, and they started with a P, and it's the Chili Peppers, and it was constant through that Kate Moss era of what a bizarre little 3.5 years that was, and then comes Vanessa.
Yeah, and very quickly pregnant. No blanks
Is Kate mom now?
Yeah, I think she has a kid, at least a daughter.
How old's the daughter?
I don't remember what year kid was born.
Kate herself is pushing 50 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Judy Tenuta, The Brave is definitely worth seeing. It's one of those gritty, independent movies that so represents the mid to late 90s when they made a lot of those. It would so be that old IFC spirit. And it's very noble what he tries to do. It probably could use someone like a... Actually, it's a funny story about that. Not a funny story. His brother, who you never hear from, has come up just briefly during this trial. Danny Depp, who is 10 years older than Depp, is the co-writer of this movie. And it's adapted from some guy named Gregory McDonald. I didn't read the book. I should have read the book. I didn't read it. And it's definitely worth a spin. I have it somewhere. And if I don't, I soon will. I believe I do have it on a file somewhere. One of my 65 terabyte hard drives, according to G Canada.
Yeah.
Totally worth seeing. And it's the only movie Depp's ever directed.
Okay. I still haven't seen it. I would love to watch it. Send it to me. By the way, excellent read. You knocked it out of the park.
You could hear me like I'm just like I'm running on fumes at the end. It's like from that week of just the Deppening. You could hear me just going,
of course.
Because they wouldn't end it. The book was weird. It would act like it was over, and then I would turn to the next page and like I'd see Depp's name again. I'm like, oh no, it's not done yet.
Yeah.
So you'd hear me trailing off. I thought it was over, and I was trying to end it 3 times, and I go, oh, and I hit the next page, and I'm like, no, it's not done. And so I had to like change the, I tried my best.
And we're not done yet because you had another reading, so.
Oh, this is different. I took a little, so Lauren Marie, which I think Vanessa was his best match. What is now his lifestyle and personality? Low key, talented, pretty European. Too bad they broke up. I know.
Yeah.
I know. And she probably has so much to say about this trial, and we're never going to hear it. She had a very meek defense of him in the UK in a very half-baked deposition she did. We'll probably read that next time. Just telling you what, I've never seen a violent thing out of him and stuff. And the stuff with Jack and Lily Rose and stuff. But look, she has every right to be pissed and hate him because he eviscerated her in some of those texts. The French albatross they gloss over it, but he does enough where if you read that in black and white and you saw the whole world is reading that, you'd be pissed and you'd have every right to be pissed.
Absolutely.
Welcome, G Canada and Kylo.
Yes, hi Kylo. Oh, G Canada too. Sorry.
One of the great emasculators in North America, G Canada.
Okay, what do you want to get to next? You want to do Whitney Heard?
We gotta go to Whitney. We gotta go to Whitney.
Okay.
I guess we'll end with Whitney, and this is so this is me. I'm just straight narrating Whitney Heard's deposition from the UK, and this is the one we heard Wednesday. Again, I'm going to say the same phrase, half-baked. This is much deeper in their history. She goes off here and it's more detailed than her history with Depp. And we'll pause it. Sarah, you know a lot about this, so you pause it as you feel need. You know more about this than the last thing, so
I
know you're
not
going to
read
be
her.
more interested.
I haven't read her deposition in a solid year, and I did not listen to what you recorded on purpose so I can respond
Okay, I
real time.
recorded the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like the whole, I think it's 70 pages.
First, before we hear Arm's reading, though, we have a video that unfortunately they weren't able to play while Whitney was on the stand because it's called hearsay. But Whitney, there was some podunk reality show that.
I'm just going to get a drink, Sarah, while you do this. Just
Okay,
keep
yeah, no
going.
problem.
I'll be right back. I'll be 30 seconds.
Okay. So Whitney was on a reality show. You're going to see, your typical reality type people huddled around her. I wish they would have played this, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So I will start this, and by the time this is over, Arm should be back. Comment on his reading.
Oh.
Okay, it is subtitled. The blonde with the sunglasses, this is Whitney. So this is, of course, just something we didn't hear during the testimony.
Thank you. Got into an altercation.
Proof, say Johnny Depp's lawyers, that Amber Heard attacked her sister.
I can't believe Amber beat your ass.
Unaired reality TV footage sees Whitney Henriquez repeatedly avoid questions about a fight.
Okay, did you really start the fight with your sister, or did she start it? For real, for real, for real. We're not gonna talk about that. She really did whoop your butt.
Mr. Depp's legal team say it shows her with marks to her chest and arm. They accused Ms. Henriquez of lying in her evidence the day before when she said Amber Heard had never been violent towards her. The video was released anonymously late Thursday evening to Johnny Depp's lawyers. He's suing the publishers of the Sun newspaper over an article describing him as a wife beater.
So, of course, they can't play that in court, unfortunately. I don't know how Amber was associated with this reality show, maybe behind the scenes somehow, but they knew Amber enough to know that the bruises on Whitney were from Amber. And of course, Whitney doesn't want to talk about it. We're going to go into later a clip of one of Amber's friends from the era of the movie. What is it? Never Back Down. It was horrible. I watched the trailers. Horrifying.
Oh, we got to do something on that. But what that is, Sarah, that's a great callback by you. I forgot that. So you showed me the trailer. We watched it. What it is it's like, I mean, I got it just off the trailer, and you could do that thing. And this isn't a cliche, but this is exactly what they're going for. It's like if you did a UFC version of Karate Kid. So it took the UFC craze that was going on right around that time, like when it really took off, like 2006, 2000. The movie came out in, I think, 2008, but that's when UFC really started to take off. And so they took the UFC craze and they did a high school movie, and they basically ripped Karate Kid off and they modernize it and they turn it into a UFC Karate Kid. Same shit. New kid moves to town. Basically, Amber Heard plays Elizabeth Shue. And fucking Zabka is the guy he's fighting. And then Damien Hinsu, who you know, he's in Guardians of tons of shit, plays essentially a black Mr. Miyagi. It's the exact, you can't miss it.
Yeah. It is a typical Amber Heard movie. I refuse to watch it, and she's probably nude in it at some point because that's all she could do.
Oh, you're gonna play the audio from the dude, the actor Steven Crowley first, or you going? Okay,
you sent it to me. No,
I didn't hear it.
We're doing Whitney right now, and then we'll get to him. So, but anyway, my point was he comments. I don't know if what you sent me he comments about it, but he suspects that Whitney and Amber had a severe trauma in their childhood, so which causes them to react in life how they do. Amber being an aggressor, and Whitney being the perpetual, abuse victim, first by her father, now by her sister. So meanwhile, the mother's there,
How about Marta, who's in our chat a lot? Marta said that she thinks, he wrote this like during the week. She thinks that Amber, and because Whitney talks about Rochelle Hathaway and Amber had regular threesomes with Depp, and then he eventually started to have her separated from that, and that's when she went nuts. I believe I think that the genesis of this scam was hell hath no woman is woman scorned, and I think the cheating is what really sent this into overdrive.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the threesome. It's a great ballsy theory that Marta has, but I definitely think this got put into hyperdrive because of the hell hath no fury as a woman scorned. And
Yeah.
when she found out he was cheating, that's what did it. I just have no doubt.
So Lauren Marie says, by the way, I don't understand how they are still arguing in court about how his finger was severed. There's a recording of Amber crying and apologizing and the doctor giving her medicine to calm down. As of right now, from what I know, that
Want to blame
recording,
drugs?
that recording is somehow hearsay because Jerry Judge has passed away. I don't know. But they had to introduced it during the testimony of one of the doctors. So she knows that audio isn't in as of right now. And you think they could just edit everybody out and just play her part? I hope they're doing that for the rebuttal. That's the end of the argument. They go out with a bang. I hope.
Well, the finger has so much to do with the drugs and the Marilyn Manson. So the finger has a lot to do with how they want to blame drugs and alcohol and everything.
Yeah, they have a lot to go out with a bang on. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's something just as good. I don't know.
Don't discount the fact too that has so much to do with his delinquency on Pirates. So when they're skipping out on production days to the tune of $7 million a day, and he's late all the time, that's her they're saying, no, that's his fault. It's not her fault. They can't. A lot of this is about missed wages. So when you're missing, and him not being cast. Now you got to remember too, in Pirate 6, a lot of this, he's got to take culpability for so much of this. He got caught in text eviscerating Disney. So if you're executives and you're that company reading that, you could fire him just off that.
Yeah.
Black and white text of him just pissing on Disney. They have this.
I don't blame him though.
I don't either. I don't know, but I'm saying
the money
they
he
could
gave,
just say,
what he brought into them, and the first accusation, which there's evidence, even around the time that was coming out that says it may not be, an accurate or a truthful accusation, and they just went ahead and canned him. Who gives a fuck about an op-ed? What she says in an op-ed?
No question, Sarah. But do you see companies like Warner Brothers or Disney ever admitting to being wrong? Do you really see them backpedaling on this and rehiring him and going, "Oh, we're wrong"? So there's no way. Exactly right. There's no way. The best thing they can do, and I don't want to quote Christopher Cross, is basically cutting her out of Aquaman is their way of saying sorry. But it's also a way to help themselves because that movie will go nuts if she's cut out. And the curiosity of people who didn't watch the first Aquaman will see this. It already is DC's #1 movie. Better than Superman, better than all the Batman Nolan films, better than everything in that shared universe. It made better than Wonder Woman. Aquaman's #1 money make. Don't ever forget that. And this second one, I'll go as far as saying it, not want to say double, but it's going to make maybe 50% more out of the curiosity of her not being in it. And this thing is a month and a half infomercial for the film, which is not, you think it was delayed? You think it's a coincidence it was delayed 3 times because of this trial?
Yeah. Ayla, if they could play that audio, that would be amazing. Agreed. But I thought they could only play audio with just the 2 of them in it. Yes. It was gross how Amber kept mentioning Jerry when she was on the stand. She's throwing him under the bus and she's throwing her mother under the bus, both dead.
Go to Rodney.
Meanwhile, her mother has texted Depp before she died about how Amber, they all knew how Amber was. And he would always be a son to them. She didn't mean to bring these accusations forth. Her lawyer forced her to do it.
Where your mom is 2 years older than you.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into Whitney.
Look at what Rodney writes, though. The threesome theory isn't a theory. It was a testimony in Rocco's husband's deposition, and same as the one that was used in court. It got edited out of court because of the prejudicial hearsay grounds. Yeah, the stuff that's edited out of court, I believe it too. I think that Three's Company 5 penthouse Eastern Columbia building, I think is a total fucking sex party that we're not even hearing about. I think there's so much going on with threesomes and group sex and God knows what. In that generation, these girls are all in their 20s and shit. They're drinking and getting high. Who knows what we don't know?
Last thing I want to stumble upon is Elon Musk banging Cara Delevingne. Two of the oddest looking people I've ever seen. I don't want to see it. And then Amber Heard saunters and punches them both, and they both finish. All right, I got to get into Whitney here. So
everyone's getting thrown under the bus. Isla, Paul Bettany, man, it's
everyone else's fault.
We love the Joe Perry one. That was great.
Yeah, Nothing is her fault. She could have, presented her case. I know I made mistakes. I've bettered myself. I've become a mother. No, but she's perfect, and she only did drugs twice. Did you know that? The ones that
She
she was
always
forced
does
to
the
admit to.
virtuous thing in every situation. It's always she has everybody's best interest at heart. There's nothing in it for her ever, 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 ever. That Bruce Whitkin, Depp's best friend from threw Joe Perry under the bus, who's known for in the Hollywood Vampires. Him and Alice Cooper are predicated on being sober, and it's their sober homage to their drunken friends who have passed away, and that's their mantra. And Joe Perry was thrown as relapsing on coke because of Depp, as per Bruce Whitkin. I thought was fascinating, and it's him and Bettany, and it's this is one of the most amazing things about this trial is who gets thrown under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get into Whitney so I can be pissed off.
I first met Johnny Depp briefly during Amber's press tour during the Rum Diary in 2011, but I did not know then that Amber and Johnny had started a relationship. When they officially started dating, I met him sometime.
And guys, I apologize for the volume. This is as high as it goes.
Oh, is it? I should have crashed. I wish I could have.
2012, when Amber hosted a dinner party at her house in Los Angeles to properly introduce him to me as her boyfriend. I remember thinking that Johnny seemed very sweet. He seemed shy and timid. I think he was nervous, perhaps about meeting her family. I liked him. He was interesting and interested. I enjoyed getting to know him. I was surprised how much I liked him because I really didn't like Amber's previous partners. At the time, he said he was sober and was drinking a lot of tea and non-alcoholic Beck's beer. Johnny and I became really close.
Oh, wow.
Like brother and sister.
Why did I trail off here?
I don't know. Should we delay this?
A lot of time.
Should we play this later
Just
after I fix the volume?
Jump ahead. Maybe we can come back, circle back to this and fix the volume. Just jump ahead and see how it sounds like.
That he had hit her, but would try to justify.
I think we should do this another time.
She hit him first.
You want me to amplify it, and we'll just play that. Yeah, what we'll do here is we'll stop it and
okay, let's play it next time.
Okay, what we'll do here is we'll play. So this is a gentleman named Steven Crowley, who's an actor who was in that movie. What's the name of the movie again, Sarah?
Never Back Down.
Never Back Down. So he has this gaggle of stories from hanging out with her. This is Orlando 2008. She hadn't done the Rum Diaries yet, and her all denials about cocaine and the like. He dispels it here in he has a podcast, and you should see it because we glean this from his podcast. Everyone should say hello to him. Steven Crowley. I guess he's kind of a reluctant actor now. He doesn't give a shit, and he's trying other things. But he was I think he's done like 15 things in his life, and he has a very candid account of what happened with her on this set.
Okay, but that's not what you're going to hear first. First is a snippet from Court TV, everyone's favorite coverage of this trial. Probably the worst I've ever watched. This gentleman has a very interesting perspective on what we all saw. I don't think he saw it personally. And there's a little video that kind of counteracts what he says.
On Amber Heard as a victim on the witness stand.
On direct, I'm not going to lie to you, Vinny. I actually got kind of choked up.
Ooga.
I truly believed her. Seriously, I got a little teary-eyed and truly thought that she was having a flashback, having to relive that nightmare. And she was probably ashamed to have to admit to the world, basically in a live studio audience there, what happened to her. And I think she tried to keep it quiet for the longest time. And now she's had to relive that. I cannot imagine the physical pain that she went through by being penetrated with a bottle. I don't know if you remember.
You can imagine. I know you can imagine.
Covered the Lorena Bobbitt trial.
It's not
you relate quite well to that.
He's not a stranger to the penetration phenomenon or the sensation.
There's Cherry Grove Ferry with his with a pass for him, waiting for him right now to go over for Memorial Day with the bottle.
I gotta say, I had hope for Court TV for this coverage. What garbage! Nobody. Even pro-Depp people talking on the channel. You get maybe one a week. They know nothing about this.
Well, oddly, originally it was supposed to be just Court TV that was covering this. You remember, when I was terrified about if it was going to be televised or not, and every show we did, I'm screaming about I was threatening everyone it better be televised. So they greenlight it, and all these streaming services jump on the bandwagon, and you see now with CBS and Sky TV and Law and Crime and stuff. But originally, it was just going to be Court TV. I thought they even had exclusivity to it.
Yeah.
But I guess not, and thankfully it didn't. They'll go to commercials and shit. I don't know if anybody watches it on Court TV. When they cover the trial, they'll go to commercials and they'll kind of at strange times, and
it's horrible.
It's a strange, and they're all over the place with it. And they have some weird people who aren't nearly as knowledgeable about it as they should be. And this is a guy. I just wanted to show a contrarian opinion. I wanted to show that there are people who don't like that believe her. They're out there. You just got to go outside your comfort zone. And say, I've been in message board threads where I couldn't believe the hate Depp got. Like 2 weeks ago, the whole thread hated him. Man, not so much. It was mostly guys out of maybe jealousy and some women think, but he's not as beloved as you might think sometimes. And I see that, and I just want to see how the other half lives sometimes. And I'll say, like Melvin writes here, is anyone else conflicted here? Amber's a monster, of course. But shouldn't she be allowed to write an op-ed piece discussing the topic of her choice without naming names? I hate Amber, but I love free speech. That's the whole trial, Melvin. And people forget what this is about. And that's going to trip him up. If he loses, it's going to be because somebody in that jury just says, yeah, she should be fucking right what she wants.
He has to make it 51%, plausible that she made this up. He's what, 90%?
Yeah.
If he can prove she lied, which he has done, in my opinion, he should win this. Again, I'm not counting my chickens, but if they have
you just can't get in the head of those jurors. You can't read them. You don't know
but
what
if they have any common sense, this should go how we expect it to go. But again, I thought that on the OJ trial, so who knows?
And the UK trial. And me, and he ended up losing 12 out of 14 cases. Now, what
Casey
my
Anthony,
question
I
is,
thought that was going to go a different way.
Yep. My question is, what is the intention of Depp's team? Do they give a shit about the result? Is the court of public opinion all they're looking to sway deep down? When Adam Waldman goes in and he's dropping hints to people to pick it up, it's not about convincing the already converted. It's about convincing the jury. Your job is to make that jury vote in his favor. So Adam Waldman's got to know this. I can't change this jury's mind. I can only do the court of public opinion, and I can sway people with my evidence and have it circulate through Twitter. It's so much so that he's going to be banned for life, which is insane. So is the court of public opinion what he really cares about?
Yes,
deep
absolutely.
Down? And you had the most brilliant thing ever. You said the most brilliant thing ever. And everyone's stealing your idea now. Not that they heard you, but you know what I mean. Your idea was he is going to take that money if he wins, and he's going to do an end zone spike. He's going to say, here's the $7 million from my cut. I'm donating it right now. Here's the receipt. Screw you. And it does that mic drop shit. So that's now I'm hearing everybody repeating that now. But you said that a month ago.
Yeah. Well, I think he would. I just want the win for him, though. What I suspect is the jury, if he wins, they're going to say, yeah, you proved it, but fuck you both. You're not getting anything because you're both so fucked up and wasted our time with this bullshit. Well, I don't think it's bullshit. It has a greater message in it culturally. But I think they're just done with it. I think they will find in his favor, my prediction. I'm hoping.
Ayla writes,
money-wise, I don't think he's going to get what he's asking for.
Well, she can't. Right? She can't. According to Harvey Levin, he can attach a paper trail to her to make her pay out of her future.
Well,
that'd
be wonderful, and he should do that. I would take her kids' inheritance.
Yep.
But I'm vicious, so I don't think he's me.
Well, you had a thought. I think you were with us right on Wednesday, right? And you think that Depp started to feel sorry for Whitney.
Oh, yeah.
Like he really doesn't want to go nuts on her. Like he probably told the people to back off.
He looked directly at her, like he had hope.
Yep.
And then she just kept going with the bullshit, and he stopped looking at her. So, therefore, he's like, okay, go get me Jennifer Howell. And we'll tell you in a minute who Jennifer Howell is.
Sunflower Dragon writes, here, let me just read a couple of these. She had a settlement agreement, and she should not have written the article. I say he should file a breach of contract suit after this and ask for the settlement money. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe they're doing that.
I don't know if there's a statute of limitations on that type of. I don't know. Who knows?
Is there a statute on the Australia dog smuggling thing?
No, they're still working on it.
So
They're
they
still
still can go
investigating
through
it.
with it.
I
Okay.
think they're
Okay.
waiting. They're waiting for this to end.
It's so crazy where all this is. It's so much shit.
She's
just tertiary to this.
She's being investigated for perjury on 3 continents now.
How about his City of Lies lawsuit with that guy Rocky Brooks, Greg Rocky Brooks?
That'll be thrown out in 2 seconds.
I wonder.
Once they get going with it.
And Ayla writes, I think you should be able to write what you want, but it's straight up lies if it is. You're purposely hurting someone. Then I think it's, Ayla, I mean, they were out to ruin his life. And it did.
Yeah.
What he said about his kids, and they can't go, and there are people who stalwart fans of his that gave up on him and turned on him. And there's a stigma and a stench that's attached to him. Certainly her. She wants the stench. I mean, she has nothing without being attached to him. But there's a stench attached to him, whether by the way, one of his hotel pseudonyms was Mr. Stench. And he's never going to, no matter where this goes, he's never really going to shake this from this trial. And there's no movie he's ever going to do that's going to be the eyeballs on it that this thing has. He's going to be known for this. It's gonna usurp everything he's ever done, whether he wants it to or not, and whether he wins or not. The damage is already done, in my opinion, and he can get some of his reputation back. But it's almost like when the Skrull impersonated Captain America. They know they did it, and it took Steve Rogers. He's still trying to get his reputation back from that.
Okay, let's get through this weirdo so we can get to a little video that I love more than I probably should.
Ironically, out of Virginia. And she took the stand and had to relive that moment when she was raped by John Wayne Bobbitt before she severed his member. And let me tell you, she went through those long pauses. She probably didn't have the most perfect body language, but I got choked up back then, and she was acquitted. The jury believed her that she was a battered spouse and went through that irresistible impulse and literally severed his junk, because that was the instrumentality of his anger.
Rodney says that
and unfortunately,
editorial control at Core TV. Rodney says that guy Vinny has editorial control at Core TV. He decides all the programming. Seems like it.
He knows less than zero about this case.
In this case, if the jury buys it, that bottle was the instrumentality of Johnny Depp's anger toward Amber Heard.
Okay. The picture that she suddenly had PTSD from, the bottle has a white label that is unblemished. The wax is undisturbed at the top of the bottle, and there's alcohol still in the bottle. And first of all, the bottom of that bottle would cause serious injury, more than just losing control of your bladder and a dot of blood on the floor.
Yep.
And you'll see what else it would, prevent her from doing in a second.
And we'll see.
We shall.
Shut up. Okay. So I want you to the context of this video, and some of you have seen this, I know. This is maybe a few days to a week after this incident in Australia. And remember her reports. Of course, she was beat the hell up. Her feet were cut because she had to walk over glass. She was slipping in the broken glass everywhere, and she was assaulted with a bottle. So she had a movie coming up soon. So she was in rehearsals for another crap movie that she was doing called The Danish Girl, where she plays a ballerina. So this is a video that I don't know if she remembered was available, but it came out just maybe a month ago. It'll show in just a second.
Listen.
Some action. Someone, look at that wide leg sweep. Can you do that after an attack like that with a bottle?
I don't think Annie Lennox could do that after her broken glass.
Look at those feet she's dancing on that are all sliced up. I doubt this guy sees any marks on her face.
I always crack up at ballet. It's so funny.
Look at the arms. I mean, look at the arms with all those cuts on them. I
can't not laugh when I see ballet. I want to see Depp mock this.
She thinks she's so graceful. Oh my God. She's really moving with those internal injuries. Okay. I had to play that because I have been waiting for weeks to play that. Okay.
What made you do the artistic move there and put 3 frames together like that?
If you look away, you'll still see it because I want you to see it. I hope they play this in the rebuttal case. and just maybe play it over her describing her injuries. I don't know. Oh my God, I can't stand this woman and what she has done, not just to him, but to men in general. And people are still putting that hashtag out, believe all women,
Well,
and
that's
using
the
her to support it.
that's the gist of the case. This is far beyond what this
It's
really is,
disgusting.
and this is how you vet these accusations. She's going to destroy the credibility of every victim
Yeah.
from here on in, and that should
Mhm.
worry people more than if they haven't read. There's always going to be some feminazis that'll believe everything, no matter what, no matter how much proof. But it's everything, and it's the first time he had the money to push back and fight back.
Absolutely.
But imagine that poor bastard who doesn't. That school
Yeah.
teacher who gets a sexual harassment in the teacher's lounge and just is out on his ass. No pension, no tenure.
Yeah, while we love him, if this didn't speak to a greater cause, I would be kind of like, two weirdos, the two trash celebrities just fighting out their
Yeah.
post-marriage. That's not what this is.
Well, I
He
remember reading
is-
that Rolling Stone article with Stephen Roderick, and Adam Waldman's got a big part of that article, and it talks about they label them two crusaders going after this very thing you're talking about. And this is 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
he was the court of public opinion was against him at that point. I remember vividly. There's a really, really negative sentiments about it. I couldn't believe how low it had gotten. And that Stephen Roderick wrote something like Depp and Waldman see themselves as two crusaders trying to trying to reshape the MeToo movement and its narrative.
Yeah.
He framed it something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, too, you have to do not discount another hero in this whole scenario is Depp's charisma. Also, with the money, you can't do this. You can't pull this off unless you're just magnetically likable in the way that he is. I don't think you can pull. If you're James Franco, you can't do this. You don't believe a word he's going to say. He's so hateable. Depp is the only one that has charisma that usurps the money of an Elon Musk. And you can't pull this off unless you have his charisma. I don't feel.
Yeah. Okay,
What up,
so I guess we're
Shellback?
hi, Shellback. So I guess we're getting into Steven Crowley. Now, for a very popular YouTube show they have here, Steven and his buddy, their mics suck. So I tried to do the best I could with the audio.
I enhanced it too when I was doing it.
Yeah.
I tried to crank it.
It's tough. There's background. It's so annoying.
What I did is the guy he's talking to is irritatingly, nothing against the guy, he's probably a fun guy, but he's irritatingly monotone and he's a low talker. So I cut him out almost completely and I tried to just stay on Crowley because he speaks up.
All right. All right,
So
let's get into
you
him.
hear the edits when I go
He
through
has a lot of good stories about
Yeah.
her. It'll play in just a second.
Yeah, young, bright, bushy-tailed, bright-eyed Steven Crowley.
This is
on
bad.
set. Yeah, and you see this woman. Oh my God. So yeah. And go. So I obviously Googled.
You think we should play this?
He's okay. What do you think, chat? Does he sound good to you? I think he sounds good.
Like I saw that I got it, and I didn't know anybody like Sean Ferris. No one. So I was like, ooh, she's pretty. She hadn't been in anything, and we had the table read, and she's just beautiful, right? And kind of to herself.
Shellback
And
likes
then
it.
the director says, all right,
Okay.
Stephen Amber.
And it's not
Lauren,
talk over
we
it.
had to do, what do you call it? Rehearsals, acting class, just like figuring stuff out. Care anymore. I don't care about acting. That's a problem. It's like they're also, everyone protects each other. I don't care. I retire. So we had our little acting rehearsal and we hated each other. She didn't like me. I was stepping on her lines. I was improvising. So the first week, she didn't really like me. It was Friday, the first Friday. She comes up to me. She's like, what are you doing after work? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, you want to run errands with me? I was like, okay. And she's like, you should wear this tonight. I was like, where are we going? She's like, we're going out. And I was like, okay. She's staying in like a very nice condo. They put her up at. And she's like, I'm gonna get ready. So she starts getting ready and we start bullshitting. She comes out of the shower and we made love. I'm kidding. She comes out of the shower and she just starts talking. We sit there, she pours some wine, she starts drinking, she goes, do you party? And I go, yeah, we're gonna party tonight. I didn't know what that meant.
Yes, in your mind, you're thinking party. She's like, no.
And I was like, yeah, I party. And she's in the kitchen. She opens a drawer and puts out some cocaine on a cookie tray and starts cutting it up. And she's like, gives me a straw. And I was like, oh, I didn't know what that was. You mean like that's cocaine? She goes, yeah, that's how you party. She doesn't want to like, I'm good. I don't really want to do anything. I've never done drugs. And I was like, I'm good. She goes, okay, cool.
Now, in her defense, cocaine.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was very casual. When she's sitting up there saying, I'm against it, I don't do it. It's such a, it's just not true.
So you have to also consider
routine. So like, if you're on set, and if you're like hanging out back in those days, like you don't want to spend too much time at the at craft services. So like, everybody smokes cigarettes. Even if you don't smoke cigarettes, you start smoking on set.
Sarah, can you pause for a second?
And
all right, sorry. So I want everybody to keep up. So there's a Billy Bob Thornton thing he goes into, which is phenomenal. He's got so much dirt, and he implies Tasya abuse and everything. He's got a lot of stuff. Just want to bear with it. It's again, I did my best. He's on not on Zoom, but it's the acoustic. So I tried to raise it. We couldn't, but you can hear him fine. His friend's a low talker. What the heck else did I want to say on this? I think that's all I need on that. I wanted that. So arm is, Rodney asks, arm is Elon footing for the legal bill for. We don't. I mean, Rodney, I think it's the ACLU.
Who else could
because
be?
I think those lawyers are too lightweight. I think he would have gotten someone way more hardcore. Elaine's not. That's not even Elaine's bailiwick or area of expertise. Apparently, what's her specialty, Sarah?
Settling, arbitration. She does a lot of settling, so
she's not good at objections. This is not a normal thing for her.
The theory is she's not used to the trial process.
Yep.
You could tell that when she was trying to do the redirect. That was pitiful.
Yep.
I'm trying. Shut up. Your Honor said I could do redirect. So unprofessional.
The theory is that the ACLU got this team.
Yeah. I'm happy she's Amber's attorney. And I'm also happy I found this picture of Amber with crooked teeth and a zit on her chin. Okay, here we go.
So, especially when you're drinking, you have a couple drinks, there's nothing better than a cigarette. Like that head high.
Don't smoke cigarettes and don't drink, kids.
I know you shouldn't smoke cigarettes, but like we didn't know any better. It was 2008.
Whatever. Continue, please.
So she even told me, she goes, I'd much rather be addicted to cocaine than cigarettes. This is like our first night hanging out.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, is this how Hollywood rolls? I just think she's like a disgusting pig.
Oh my god.
who like, she threw her sister under the bus. She was like, I wanted Johnny out, we're at my place on Orange, which by the way is like a duplex.
Okay.
And if she's claiming all her apartment. And, so one morning she's fighting with, Johnny, he's been doing coke all night, beating her up, kicking shit out of her, no bruises. She calls her sister. She goes, and I called Whitney to come over.
He knows Whitney too.
To partake with him because they had that kind of bond with each other. I'm like, you're really gonna throw your sister under the bus, saying like, I called Whitney over to do cocaine. Was so scared of him wanting out of my house, but I called her over to continue the party. But I'm against it. It's just not nice because me and Whitney became friends for like.
I think you were friends with Whitney too, right?
Yes. So this is what I'm saying. Because I was friends with Amber when we filmed. We stayed in touch for a little bit afterwards. Then I randomly met her sister on a night out, and we're at the woods. It's a bar, not we're not in the woods with like bears and creatures.
Thank you for clarifying. So I was thinking that's.
I'm like looking at her, and I say, "Who do people tell you remind? Who do people say that you remind them of?" And she goes,
"That's Whitney."
Yeah. She goes, Kristen Stewart. I go, no, it's an actress I worked with, but like she's not really famous or has done anything since we worked together, but you look a lot like Amber Heard. She goes, that's my sister. And I was like, no way. And then we became friends.
That's kind of funny. It's just kind of insulting.
Favorite little bits in the trial was when Johnny starts describing, as if he's our friend Johnny, starts describing Whitney before he was objected for hearsay, objection hearsay, and the way he was describing her was so dead on. He was like, I always feel like Whitney missed out on something.
I said this too.
That was kind of Whitney's demeanor.
What do you mean by that?
Like a little bit of a, are we good?
No, you're fine. That's what it's.
A little bit of a kind of an abused kind of puppy dog. There was a way Whitney carried herself that was the exact opposite how Amber carried herself. But he was kind of like head down. I don't want to say solemn because she was an absolute sweetheart, and I really liked her.
Okay, maybe she's a sibling of a semi-famous actress, right?
Yeah, but Amber has like this. Amber has this kind of big dick manipulative energy.
Okay.
Whitney does not. Whitney would rather be in the corner of the room, while Amber wants to be, front and center.
Okay.
Almost like they grew up in like two different environments.
Okay.
Like Whitney was raised out in the shed, and Amber was, fawned over. We call a cab because there's no Ubers back then, and we go out to what year was this? 2008.
Tiger Woods
2007.
apparently there's something with Tiger Woods and had a club, I guess, in Orlando is what she's about to describe. It's an interesting thing. By the way, I mean, I really did my best to edit out any of the monotone, so you just hear a lot of the cuts. So it's me just chopping it up. I think it's an hour and 10 minutes.
That's also their audio. Yeah. It's horrific.
And we go to, which was Tiger Woods' secret bar. This was right before he got busted for, having relations with all those women.
Okay.
Weird spot in downtown Orlando. Time, we're drinking. She's like, I feel like she's hitting on me, and the whole time she keeps asking me, "Are you sure you're not gay?" And I was like, Amber, I know it's weird, but no, I'm not gay.
I agree, David.
So that was my first night going out with her. We go back to her place.
It's 3 faces ago.
I call a cab and leave. The next morning she calls me. She's like, "Hey, we're going out again." I was like, "To where?" She goes, "Just come over." I come over, and I'm like, she comes, answers the door, and I was like, I don't know if she slept. Buddies, because she's like, I hated you when we first met. I was like, I didn't like you either. She's like, but we're kind of the same person. I was like, yeah, kind of the same person, but I don't have a cocaine addiction. Also, she had the drug dealer on lock as soon as she landed. Which, by the way, I left out in that story. There was always this larger, older gentleman who was kind of hanging out. I didn't know it was the drug dealer until maybe a few weeks in, when my friend Neil was like, he goes, "You know who that is, right?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "That's your drug dealer." And I was like, "Neil," which, by the way, he's on SEAL Team CBS. Catch it. Our drug dealer was always around, in the shadows until that night that we were basically held captive. Well, so that's it just reminded me of she was asked, I guess Johnny Depp was mad about her banging Billy Bob, and he wrote that on the thing with blood when she cut his finger off. And that was one of the intros to Hollywood that first night, we just do coke, and not me, but this is what we do. And then she's like, Billy Bob's texting me, and I'm like, Billy Bob Thornton? Yeah. She was like, we had a thing. She just denies it. None of this shit makes sense when she's on trial. Honestly, I'm watching it, and I'm sitting there going, the only way that she gets out of this is saying, "Hey guys, sorry, I have a drug and alcohol problem. I lied. I'm gonna go to therapy, go to a treatment center, and figure my life out because actual abuse victims. And I'm sure they got into fights, physical altercations. It's on tape of them admitting it. But to say not every ass kicking falls out of the sky, So if you're gonna poke the bear, and I know her behavior, I've seen it with Tasya, their blowouts that they had on set, her wife in their apartment. That's another story for another day. I've seen all of it. I lived it. And just to say like, what is it? A leopard doesn't change its spots type thing?
Right.
It's like she's inventing an entirely different new person that is not who she is. There's a reason why Whitney's not brought on the stand. There's a reason why Tasya's not being on the stand.
Well, again, this
ex went through and deleted like every photo prior to her, which sucks because your boy would have had some major evidence of the things that I'm saying. I do have one photo where she's got like cocaine all over her nose.
I think we can sue.
You know, wanted to have cocaine all over her nose. It's kind of like when she snorted it on the witness stand and then pretended like that didn't just happen, and then rolled the tissue up into her sleeve. So she's not using the tissues that they give you. She's bringing her own tissues onto the stand.
No disrespect to her as a person, I just don't see it.
Yeah, so we all thought she'd blow up and be a big star after Never Back Down. We can get into that story as well, of like how her and Johnny happened. I know because I became good friends with Whitney during that time. So like I had the whole full play-by-play of what was going on. But I feel like this is a fun introduction, and like if we can get things rolling again and I can convince you to sit down some more. We'll also do.
Okay. Yeah, Maury Boy writes, is any of this admissible in the trial? Yeah, you listen to this going, this guy destroys anybody as a witness. He just destroyed everything. He pokes holes in every single thing. Miss Virtuous, Miss I don't do coke, the Billy Bob Thornton thing, Tasya, he eviscerates everything. Yet this isn't because he, I think, just became kind of ensconced in the trial like a couple of weeks ago. And him and his friends decided like, I'll talk about it. Like they didn't think to look up someone like this, or this is just one of these people that's just out there that has way more intel and is willing to talk about it. And they couldn't get him at the time. It's as simple as that. It's crazy. He's everything.
Somebody in the comments mentioned, so sorry, I forget who, but they mentioned that Popcorn Planet interviewed him. I watched that earlier today, and he has a few other stories too about how she had stories like, we'll say she's very experienced by the time she's 22, and she was making the rounds on private jets and all that. So you know what that means.
By the way, how much does that guy look like? I just started and I think Gina Bobina watched it. He sounds exactly like, and it just finally hit me, Jeff Garlin from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I never watched
He has that same kind of, okay, if you knew him, I'm telling you. He has exact same vocal quality. Mm-hmm. Andy Signori.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Jeff Garlin from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
He's one of those YouTubers that I've mentioned before. I think I mentioned him directly, where he's like, you guys, you got to hit that like button and make sure you
smash that like button.
Yeah, you got to send us a super chat because they're trying to take us down. No, they're not. They're not trying to take you down. We got to use
special
language.
My life had spiraled out of control. I'm sitting there at 1:00 in the afternoon in my undies. I'm watching Andy Signori on Popcorn Planet, for Christ's sake.
Trust me, I hate that I watch it, but I will tune by and I'm like, okay, what are they saying about the trial today? It's so annoying.
There's so many grifters that have latched on to these fake Depp fans that have decided to research who he is in the last year. It drives me nuts. But we'll still be here a year from now talking about the astronauts' wife.
Hey, why not? Maybe do a watch along somehow. We'll figure that out. We got two more things. So since we weren't able to talk about Whitney, I still want to talk about a rebuttal witness that it's been confirmed is going to be testifying for Depp. I think it's video deposition, unfortunately.
Well, we're sort of talking about Whitney. I was fascinated by his relationship, how he latched on to her at not even knowing, and then he's like, you know what, you look like fucking, I can't, she's like Kristen Stewart. No, this no-name actress I worked in this horrible UFC movie. Amber Heard, it's like, that's my sister. Mm-hmm. And you kind of feel sorry for Whitney the way he profiles her there. I have to say I do.
So Jennifer Howell is a witness who kind of befriended Whitney when she was kicked out of the Eastern Columbia building. She employed Whitney. Whitney lived with her for over a year before she managed to fall back into Amber's clutches. But Jennifer Howell is going to be testifying for Depp in the rebuttal to refute everything that Whitney said, basically.
Tell us who Jennifer Howell is.
I'm about to. Jennifer Howell is the founder of the Art of Elysium nonprofit charity. I guess anyway, artists go out and do good in the community, I guess. So within the last week, Jennifer Howell, and it's been known that she's going to testify, and she's made this statement. She made it for UK. It wasn't even regarded in the slightest by the judge because he was corrupt. But in the last week, I guess this is Instagram, right? Yeah. She posted on Instagram that while she was out for the day, somebody broke into her apartment. Her building has a doorman, and you have to tell the doorman who you're there to see before you're granted access. So this person, we kind of know where this is going, went up to her apartment. I don't know if I can read this very well.
And she's considered her boss. So when she got kicked out, I got to add some context to this. So she got kicked out of the penthouses, and she was in penthouse 4, right, Sarah? 4, right. So they're in 3. Depp and the succubus are in 3. 5 is their walk-in closet. Isaac is in 2. No, Isaac's in 1. Yeah, Isaac's in 2. Josh Drew and Rocky Pennington are in 1. So she gets accused, and I go into this and I think Whitney gets accused of selling stories to People magazine. She has a mole there and other publications. She denies it. They don't believe her. Amber doesn't believe her. They kick her out of the apartment. She goes to live with Jennifer Howell during this time, who's considered to be her boss in the Art of Elysium.
Mm-hmm. So they drill through her door here. You can see this mark on the right. They just drill through the door and leave the door open. They don't come in. They don't take anything. But it's like they're just sending a little message. Well, thank you, Sue, by the way, for the $9.90. Thank you so much. We appreciate it more than you know. Jennifer Howell knows the truth about Australia. She knows the truth about the staircase incident. And basically, she is going to testify everything that Whitney told her. The main part of what she's going to provide is this declaration, which should definitely help with the case and to impeach Whitney. So I, Jennifer Howell, declare as follows. Whitney arrived. She was a mess. Whitney told me she tried to stop her sister Amber from hitting and attacking Johnny on the stairs. Whitney said when she tried to intervene to stop Amber from going after Johnny, Amber nearly pushed Whitney down the stairs. She told me she was worried Amber was going to kill Johnny. She told me she had endured that kind of abuse her entire life, first from her father and then from Amber, who she said was extremely violent. She lived with me because she did not feel she could go back to live at the Eastern Columbia building. My father reminded me this morning that I told him that Whitney had moved in with me because she was terrified of her sister. So I think that's a great rebuttal witness. I think it's apparently the jury, they weren't impressed with Whitney anyway when she was even going through the direct examination. I thought she actually, if I didn't know better, I would have believed her. But apparently they were turned off to her instantly.
Yep.
So that also makes me think they're already leaning in a certain direction with their decision.
And they're obsessed with it. I mean, the internet is. Everybody's hinging on this is going to make or break, and this is somehow going to be the exclamation point into the whole thing. And I'll believe it when I see it. Until she takes a stand, just wait. Who knows what next week brings? I'm still not sure who's left.
Yeah,
because we didn't. They're going to recall Depp, and there's this Shannon Curry again, and Isaac Baruch, and we'll see. I don't know. It's crazy. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sunflower Dragon thinks they're going to bring Jodi Arias back to the stand.
I watches the Law Tube talking about the trial. I do too, but I'm more interested in watching like the Nick Rikita stream because that's more my sense of humor. I know you're a big fan of Legal Bites.
I like I like a few. I like the black guy.
Nate.
I forget Nate.
Yeah.
And I like Rick Hogue because he looks like he's got this avuncular, very articulate, he sees both ways. He likes to take the devil's advocate, and he looks like he could play like Foggy Nelson if they did Daredevil over again.
Mm-hmm.
Or Chip, the Punisher, Microchip, the Punisher's sidekick.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Legal Bites. I'll watch it, but she's not my favorite. She's a little bit.
Well, the
too
problem is
Pollyanna
we
for me.
know more about about Depp. Like they don't know. They're too ignorant to his kind of biography and the nuances and the idiosyncrasies of the people that are there. So it takes them a while. They didn't know who Rochelle Hathaway was. Remember, he thought Rochelle Hathaway was Raquel Pennington.
Yeah.
That kind of shit I have no tolerance for. So that bothers me.
I know. Okay, so
and they grift onto the thing. They go onto the next case. We live this trial every day. We will continue to live it. They're going to move on to the next grift, whatever the next popular thing.
Well, we know already. They think they're going to all move into Marilyn Manson when they're going to move away from that very quickly once they find out the super chats for Marilyn Manson aren't going to be the same as the Johnny Depp super chats because they are two completely opposite people. I shouldn't have even mentioned it.
I thought we were close. Come on, don't you have mechanical animals?
Oy vey. I'm waiting for you to tell me
Look at that hair. Oh my God, that's Hanson's car, A. Smith.
I'll get back to it.
Oh my God.
Last thing, probably for this episode, before we can fix the Whitney Heard testimony with the volume. Okay, so 2015. I know this is kind of known, but probably late summer 2015. Depp and his father-in-law, probably more the father-in-law, decided they would play a prank on Amber and basically fake a robbery of her car so they could put it on the show Overhauling. And they could get her car, have one of those stupid television makeovers.
Yeah, so it's been a million times. It's like Leno's,
of course. There's
combining Punk'd with Leno's garage or something.
Yeah, there's 100 versions of the same show. But yeah, the before is her Mustang. That's after it's now red. But there's getting to a point here. This is a couple pictures from that episode. We can't play it because we will get a strike. But as you can see in the upper right corner, that was her attitude during the entire filming. So you could her true colors were coming out because she didn't know she was being filmed.
Thank you, Sunflower Dragon. Again, we should be paying you. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you.
Maury Boy writes, Amber pranks. No one else. That Howard quote.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
Now we have, I watching this, you get the feeling Depp really doesn't want to do this. So I think it was more David Heard, who's the fake cowboy. This is the vehicle on the set, them signing the okay, the papers, all that. And then this is the people involved with the episode. As you can see, there's a dog killer there in the photo. I bring this up because the next thing is a deposition from someone we haven't heard from. I got to pull it up. I just thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to share it. Tells you a little bit more about Amber Heard. Okay. So this is a man named David Kalaki. He was I'd call him a mechanic, right? He was a mechanic.
I guess he's a cast member on the show. Is that the dude with
I don't think he's not in the picture from what I can see.
He's not in the picture. Okay. I think he might be on the show, though, some capacity.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. There's probably a flash of him somewhere on the episode. But he had to kind of do follow-up with her with the vehicle. And this is his deposition and from his encounter with her. And I will read this here. Sorry. Okay. I, David J. Kalaki Sr., declare as follows. I am over the age of 18 and not a party to this action. I have firsthand personal knowledge of the facts set forth below. Okay. I am a mechanic by trade who founded two companies, Performance Truck Repair and Performance Allison. Is that Allison? Okay, Transmissions. My company employs approximately 30 people. I am the son. Okay, we'll skip to the good stuff. At the request of Mr. Depp, I helped facilitate an agreement with a network to restore and customize his wife's Amber Heard's 1968 Mustang on an episode of the series Overhauling. I was successful in doing so, and the filming of the reveal was December 20th, 2014. On one occasion, I had a most unusual and unsettling experience with Amber Heard. After installing a new sound system in her Mustang, she had asked me to visit her at the Eastern Columbia building. She wanted me to instruct her on how to operate the touchscreen and also to teach her how to interface her iPhone with the onboard system, make hands-free calls, map driving instructions, contact lists, play music, etc. When I arrived precisely at the appointed time, Amber was not available. It would be 3 hours before she came down from the penthouse to the parking garage. After she came down, we found the Mustang. She got in the driver's seat, and I in the front passenger seat. She seemed to be in a very happy mood. We spent a moment exchanging greetings. She said something weird. Oh, here we are alone together in a parked car in a dark parking garage. We could do anything in here and nobody would see us. She added to that statement, however, I am uncertain today of what exactly she added. I was speechless and did not make any reply to that, nor did I make eye contact. She was wearing a white t-shirt and denim jeans and dark shoes. My only response was to say, okay, let me show you how the sound system works. I continued to instruct her on the system, and she picked up on the procedures quickly. Very smart. She asked me how to show her how to get her contact list onto the touchscreen of the sound system. I did just that, and I noticed her phone was already set to a person in her contact list, and it displayed onto the car screen. It had the name and phone number to a Dr. David Kipper, who happens to be a client of mine. I said, "Oh, do you know Dr. Kipper too?" Amber's response was completely unexpected. She turned to me shockingly icy and said, "How the fuck do you know David Kipper?" I quickly apologized for asking and said it was none of my business, and told her Dr. Kipper was a client of mine. The tension in the air was extreme at that point while she gave me the silent treatment. Then she quickly exited the car while saying, "It's none of your fucking business." She walked to the penthouse elevator and I never saw her again. I sat in the car for a moment, got out, walked downstairs, and went home. I reported this entire interaction to Johnny's property manager, Mr. Murphy, and later to Johnny's sister, Christy. So he goes on to say, and I'm going to get to another paragraph here. He goes on to say she owed him money. So he's trying to get in contact with her, collect his money, et cetera, et cetera. She eventually says, "You need to call Johnny. He'll pay the bill." He gets in contact. Let's see.
She goes from Texas Spitfire to Ice Princess in 3.3 seconds.
She has a problem with anything medical being mentioned to her.
Or an accountability.
There's audio. There's audio where Depp mentions a medication she's on, and she starts screaming because you can't bring any of her reality into the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so at one point I demanded cash only, and I informed her accountant, Hector. My conversations and communication with Hector were pleasant. After Amber Heard was informed about the new cash-only policy, she flipped out at me over the phone. The abuse was worse than before, yelling, cussing, and threatening me with legal action. Amber said that I had broke our agreement to satisfy the open invoices. She also stated I was a dishonorable piece of shit, which we've heard her say to Depp. During the attempt to facilitate the repairs, modifications, and additions to the Mustang, I received many text messages and phone calls from Amber Heard's father, Mr. David Heard. After the separation of Amber and Mr. Depp, Mr. Heard became very bitter toward Mr. Depp. During a phone call with me, he stated, "That fucking piece of shit is fucking me too, because I'm supposed to get 10% of the money, and without it, I can't produce the movie I was going to make. He's ruining my baby girl's career and blackballing her in Hollywood. And when I get to him, I'm going to beat the shit out of him. I'm from Texas, and men in Texas carry 45s, and Johnny is going to meet the fucking end of mine." I told Mr. Heard it sounded to me like he was drunk. He said, "Yeah, maybe I am. I'm going to shove a whiskey bottle up your ass." I strongly advised him to stop making death threats about Johnny and threats of violence against me. So anyway, he goes on. He calls Kevin Murphy to report all this.
Oh, isn't he said his dad was a decorated detective?
Yeah.
The guy Kalak you just read, apparently his dad. So he told his dad, and they're going into like this whole thing about of threats and stuff. And God damn it, that's so well. She's now. This is 2 years after they're officially broken up and separated. That's November of 2018.
So now around the separation time,
right? On accountability, she doesn't want to. And this is like something that's like, oh my God, I actually have to pay for this still? He thinks he's still going to just benefact her till kingdom come, and the whole Samantha Spector
she asked for $50,000 a month for life, 3 penthouses, a free Range Rover, and all of the utilities and mortgage paid on the penthouses. He's supposed to do that for the rest of his life. For what, 15 months of marriage?
Yeah, well, that's why she's there. I'm still freaked out by and you think it's a coincidence. I don't think that somehow it's the exact same car Hanson drove in 21 Jump Street, which I just find to be, there are no coincidences. Sitting in the backyard.
I don't know if she researched him to that extent. She has no idea.
Well, why are they calling him Hammer? Why are they calling him Hammer?
I don't know.
Huh?
He hammered
the
it good.
Coachella con artist binge watching Jump Street, getting drunk and making fun of him. Why is Whitney calling him Hammer?
Yeah. No, he did not have a prenup. She was
he
able
tried to. She kept avoiding it.
She was able to put it off long enough to get that marriage to happen. 2 marriages.
And that was the gist of many fights. So when the
the
prenup was thrown at her a million times by her, his sister Christy, even the mom got involved. By the way, how do you think the mom would sit during this trial if Betty Sue were still alive watching this?
I don't know. The mom allowed a few things. Oh, Betty Sue, you mean?
Well, if she were alive and this trial is going on, and the dad's watching it every day, how do you think his dad's looking at this trial?
I wish he would testify for her. We could
I'm talking about Depp's dad.
Oh yeah. I want David Heard to testify.
You know, we thought
that will
she was
guarantee
gonna.
a win.
That was a thing we thought definitely was going to happen.
He had a deposition, so I don't know.
I think that they throw the dog fighting stuff in. Dogs are all over this trial. I think Depp looks bad. If one of those fucking, jurors are dog lovers, he's hanging pistol out the window. You know how people are with dogs. That could sway somebody easily. I know some crazy dog people that could sway.
There's new audio of them that came out a couple days ago where you hear him playing with a dog. I don't even buy, even if he's drunk, I don't buy him hanging a dog out the window.
We can't say that he's completely innocent.
Threatening to put it in a microwave.
There's got to be things where he's freaked. That he's on major drugs. He's got to be culpable in some of these situations. He's not completely fucking innocent in every situation.
Nobody said he
can't
was.
Paint him as.
You just don't buy the animal
Some
abuse.
of these things are real. We have to cop to the fact that some of these things are real. And if you have, and let's say this one is, and one of the people in there is a huge dog person, that's enough to vote against him.
Okay. You got anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up?
No, we're good. This is a good place to stop. We'll circle back to the Whitney thing next time. We can enhance that audio. I think you're right. I think it should be cranked.
It might be a cope stream where I'm sobbing uncontrollably in sadness. I don't know. We'll know by next weekend possibly.
Join us next week. 8:30, 8:40 Eastern time. It's 5 days, so they're going to be marathon. I'm going to need your help to bounce off whichever direction we go. Sarah will join us at least Wednesday, maybe more. Hopefully,
for like half the day, probably.
Oh, only half on Wednesday?
I got an appointment. I got to try to make.
Radio Gunk is not on next week, we don't think. So we're going to do probably some special show, maybe a cleaning out the computer, which is always fun. Just jump around to different crazy shit. I love those shows. They're easy to do for me. Thank you, Lauren Marie. Thank you, Maury Boy, David C. Rodney. The jury has to believe the testimony of Depp holding a dog out the window goes to the belief of that story's maybe she does. Maybe Whitney looks more believable than Amber does. Everyone says that's her best witness. Everyone, even the detractors, even the most stalwart Depp people are saying Whitney's easily her. Josh Drew and Whitney are the best witnesses so far. Okay, well, let's finish it up then. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. No, say it.
It's getting old.
No, it's not getting old.
It's very old.
No,
but I will say it. This is Sarah for Arm saying no time is a good time for goodbye.